To see design thinking at work, one needs to look not far, but close. Look closer at nature, and you will see how the hexagon is almost universal in its application. How a kingfisher helped make Japan's bullet train more efficient. How robotic engineering borrows from an elephant's trunk. At the 8012 FinTech Design Center, we showcase this level of design thinking in a unique way. We practice design thinking every day in every technology project we undertake for the world's leading financial institutions. Our design principles are centered in a 4-stage process that begins with defining the problem by asking the right question, understanding the stated and unstated requirements, observing patterns, connecting the dots, unearthing blind spots. At 8012 FinTech Design Center, customers can experience their digital vision in real time and work with specialists on the customer experience and operational excellence drivers. The design process is intellectually stimulating and brings out the difference between merely writing code and designing solutions for a digital fintech world. We're Intellect, and we design for digital.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the participants on the first technology day from Intellect. I welcome you all to FT8012, the first design thinking center at our Chennai, from where I'm addressing to all of you. This is a center which we created when we embarked on this journey of Intellect in 2011. We needed to have few things to put in place into 10 years back, that when we are embarking on the journey of being a technology company, moving from IT company to a technology company, there's a fundamental shift in the culture, shift in the way we think differently. And that's where Silicon Valley has demonstrated the change is happening from design thinking, and we set up this design thinking centers in 2013, which helped us in last 8 years of our working, that how our people, how our talent, how our employees, our salespeople think about the customer when they look at the problem statement. How the 3 laws of design thinking are applicable in every action which Intellect takes. First is less is more. We need to pick up important element and less number of products. Last 2% is 200%, and when we are creating a prioritization, it says the difference is for the right impact is 10 gram, 100 gram, 1000 gram, which is exponential in nature. So these are 3 laws of design thinking when we apply. And in the same breath, the design thinking about demystification, moving from mystery of a particular problem statement to define the heuristics, and when it becomes algorithm, which it can be implemented immediately, that's it. Design thinking is all about. So today I'm going to talk about demystifying technology for all of you. I know as an investor, you are very suave in investing in a lot of varied companies, but some of the technology companies in India are still coming up, and there's a big shift happening in the last 5 years, observing that good technology companies are coming in. And I want to just take you through the journey of saying, how do I demystify design thinking or demystify technology? What does the technology means? If you go back to the technology origin, the first computer was put by IBM sometime in 1950s, which we used to call mainframe. It is a 360, IBM 360 came in much later in 1960s and 70s. What are the 3 things were there in computer? Computer can be broken down to 3 elements. One is called memory, second is computing, and third is the storage. So now there are 3 elements. Like when we started constructing buildings, small houses in 50s and 60s, we used to construct the infrastructure. Then we used to lay water pipes and sewage pipes and electrical pipes. And that was a simplistic structure of the mainframe used to be there. So there is a computing power, there is a storage power, and there is a memory power. From mainframe, the next 10 years later, the few new companies came in, Digital Equipment Corporation, which is a DEC, which is no more, Wang Laboratories. These people came as a smaller version of mainframe called mini computers. Now in 1976, when Apple launched first personal computer, there was a tectonic shift in technology industry. That personal computer brought a computing power from mainframe to a personal computer. Between 1976 to 1986, 87, personal computer became ubiquitous. IBM computer, IBM personal computer, IBM compatible computer. We added a computing capacity in the world at least 100,000 times more than what it used to be there in the mainframe. Now, when you have 100,000 more computing capacity, storage capacity, memory capacity in 85, which was still very small. We still used to have a 256K kilobyte floppy disk, 5.5-inch floppy disk. Those were the nature of our technology that time. But what has given is that we have a computing power at the personal computer and computing power at the mainframe, and they want to connect the two. And that's where the client-server technology starts coming in. You must have heard the word client-server technology. And the second thing happened when too much storage capacity happened and you need to organize the data effectively, the databases start coming up. And there's a birth of Oracle relational database, Sybase relational database, or middleware. So all this terminology came sometime in 1990s, where the next generation software companies came in. So in fintech space, in the mainframe, we had a company like Systematics and Hogan, which was ruling the roost because they were the two major companies which are having the banking systems. And then when next generation technology came in, then Temenos, FlexCube, Finacle start taking birth sometime in 91, 92, because they were part of technology 2.0 roadmap. The third tectonic shift happened in the technology is innovation of a smartphone. When 2007, after 30 years, Apple launched smartphone, there is a computing power moved from personal computer to computing power in the hand. Now this has given the capacity of computing million times more than the computing capacity when it was there in mainframe, and that million times extra capacity available, industry start realizing it. How do I use and consume this computing power on the mobile? And at that is the same time, we start finding networks are getting further enhanced, and my telecom technologies have started coming in. Netflix start taking shape. Google has started search engine start taking shape. Netflix and Google required high capacities of hyperscale to grow them. They wanted some technologies like Netflix wanted a personalized technologies where they can do a microservices based architecture. So those technologies started happening in 2005. But banking industry is always, I would say, laggard by 7 to 10 years. So by 2015, a banking and financial industry sat down and looked at it, how do we leverage it? And that is the time when AWS and Azure came in picture. That's the time when we start looking at this computing power to be enhanced million times more to give it to technologies. There was a concern of the banking industry about the security. They put all those security concerns into the right perspective, and they overcome all this. So by 2018-19, this cloud technology started getting accepted in a financial industry. And that was a turning point for the technology, where a lot of new age companies started happening. Intellect during this journey, sometime 2011, when we decided to form a technology company, we started adopting design thinking as a first step. Then we started adopting cloud technology. When we picked up cloud technology in 2016, we found it looks very simple from the surface. That cloud technology, what does cloud technology mean? It's a shared technology which can be scaled directly. So, but when we got into it, we found it's not as simple. There are many open sources which came together to create a cloud technology, starting from Kubernetes and many other terminology which Rajesh Makhija will take you through on the cloud technology. But what does it deliver to the business in that technology shape and form was the ability to hyperscale the business, the responsiveness to the customer who is using mobile phones or who are using the hand phones, or the way world interact real time on the financial data. It started providing those kind of capabilities. What Intellect has started doing is we started looking some service-oriented architecture, which was the core of Intellect products, which we took it in 2003 onwards during the Polaris phase. The service-oriented architecture, we start connecting it with the microservices architecture, and then putting API layers on the top of it to define user journey to go to market. So we start leveraging, and we start given an ability to the customer to choose our technology in composable manner. What is the composability? Because the banking, when it becomes, competition becomes very, very sharp, I need a personalized product for my corporate customer, personalized product for my SME customer, and personalized product for my retail customer. So I started defining this personalized product market by market by having a common base architecture and start delivering those solutions in a composable manner. And in today's, Rajesh Makhija, who is the Chief Technology Officer for GTB business, will be taking you through the composable technology. Second piece, which we start investing sometime in 2016 and 17, which we want to demonstrate today, is about contextual, because banking is about decision making. You are taking real-time decision. You need to have fast decision making. So contextuality becomes very clear. Contextuality of how do I apply right data to make a right decision. So I need to have a decision grade data which should be available to me. For that, I need to build up a data platform. We all know data is a new oil. Every 3 years, data is multiplying million times every 3 years. The quantity of data is huge for making the right decision. Even to ensure which is the right data or wrong data, which is the debate happening in Indian TV about fake data and the real data, that's the conversation happens. How do you bring a contextuality which is relevant for that particular loan to be sanctioned or that insurance to be underwritten? What kind of technologies are required? I needed a data operating system. I invested in US, set up a team of 40 people in US, design and develop data scientist team, data management team, data ingestion team, data algorithms we have written, and that is what we will be also showcasing to you, which gives us a ability of contextuality on our banking applications besides composability part of it. So these are two key elements which I want to highlight to you. One is called composable banking, second is contextual banking, and Intellect as a market differentiator is trying to connect the two dots. After this, once you understand these two technologies, then I'll try to connect these technologies to the market needs of the customer based on our product landscape, and then I'll be connecting that to then Manish, Rajesh, and Banesh, the three CEOs or the three businesses. Manish will take up GTB business, which is about corporate banking side of the business. He'll speak about what is our product is connecting. Then Rajesh will take you to the retail banking business, and Banesh will be speaking to you about the insurance sector, how our technologies are driving the value to the customer. And finally, we'll come to the question answer session, which you may have, which will emerge from technology as well as from the banking sector itself. So at this point in time, I would like to bring in Rajesh Makhija to share what is the cloud technology means, what is the word cloud technology, and which we keep repeating day in, day out, and it's a buzzword for digital. Every IT company is talking about digital and cloud technology. What does it mean if you open the bonnet? How does it feel different? Over to Rajesh Makhija.
Thank you, Arun. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rajesh Makhija. I am the CTO of iGTB, and I'm excited to walk you through our composable technology based on cloud. And in this session today, what I will be covering is three very novel and very critical pieces of platform that we have invested in our journey in the last 3 years, starting with a digital acceleration platform called CBX, followed by iTurmeric, which is a cloud acceleration platform. And based on our SaaS journey in iSeek, we have a lot of experience and knowledge in running SaaS applications. So what we've done is taken all of that and built a kind of an Intellect Financial Services Cloud, which will form a platform for all the cloud applications to run. So let me get started with the first platform, which is the digital acceleration platform. Before we dive into what exactly is the platform, based on our conversations with the customers, prospects, right, we've seen a common theme of pain points and challenges evolve in this whole digital channel platform. The first one is the connected experience. Today, what banks and financial institutions are facing is based on their evolution of the digital platform. They are offering products and services, but they are all disconnected. What they're looking for is a common seamless platform which will allow them and their customers to access the brand, all their customer segments and businesses and products through one connected platform, which today doesn't exist. Either it is legacy or it doesn't have the best of the breed UX, and at the end of the day, the customer doesn't get a seamless experience. With the growing volumes in digital, the other challenge which customers are facing is how they can effectively scale the platform as the volumes grow, not just in terms of number of transactions processed, but also in terms of the performance, the SLAs. And they're looking for something which can hyperscale with the growing volumes of digital. And last but not the least, while they move on this journey and they embrace a platform, they want to be able to add that capability, one at a time. They don't want to do a big bang. So they want to progressively add new products, new capabilities, but at the same time, not disrupt. Essentially, extend and compose what they already have. So these were the three summarized pain points. Now let's look at some of the desires. They also have a lot of desires and aspirations while they want to move to the latest and greatest, but at the same time, they want to leverage what modern technology has to offer. While we provide a best-in-class UX, which we ourselves have spent last 2 to 3 years doing design thinking, persona-based design, but what we've seen is a few of the customers, especially in the higher tier segment, want to compose their own UI UX. They want to drive the customer desire. At the same time, they want to keep refreshing the UX with the latest trends. They don't want to be just another channel application which the other bank provides. So they want to own their experience, and they want that platform to provide the capability while they could use the platform's reference UI as a standard. Apart from just providing service to the customer through the digital platform, they want to leverage data. They want to leverage certain insights, certain predictive and contextual value-added interactions that they can provide to the channel. For example, what could be the best possible payment? What is the fastest possible payment or the cheapest possible payment? Not just do a payment through the front end. So what we call, can you amplify the service that you're offering to the customer through this platform? And last but not the least, while you're giving your own UI UX, in order to increase your distribution, all of them want to collaborate with partners and fintechs instead of competing with them. And together with the partners, they want to again build innovative experiences to the customer, and they're looking for a platform which will allow them to do. And we'll see how. Obviously, it is through APIs, but how can they compose these APIs and offer the value-added offerings to the customers is something which they desire. Now, with that, let me give you a first bird's eye view of what the CBX digital acceleration platform is all about. So firstly, it has been built ground up on a cloud native microservices architecture, largely using a lot of production grade open source. At the heart of it, what we call an operating system for corporate banking. This essentially is, you can say, the foundation fabric on which the rest of the entire platform is built. And it is very horizontal in nature. So irrespective of the vertical capability, this is something which is an essential ingredient. Just like an operating system runs a machine, this is the operating system we feel which runs the digital platform. Then based on our decade of experience of implementing various channels, we have kind of composed the entire application as domain packs. As you can see, we have domain packs for the entire spectrum of corporate capability, starting from account services to payments and collections, virtual accounts, liquidity, cash flow forecasting, and trade finance and supply chain. Now, each of these are composable and modular in nature. They are based on microservices paradigm. Hence, the customer, based on their business priorities, can choose which domain pack they want to start with and then add more domain packs, because all of them are very, very loosely coupled through an API-based integration. All these domain packs, together with the operating system, provide very fine-grained channel APIs. As we all know, the APIs that are published by the downstream systems, will have various complexities, but this operating system combined with the domain packs really simplifies the entire APIs, which enable us to build best-in-class UI UX, which then the banks provide to their corporate customers. Now, each of these channel APIs have been thought through from an API first perspective, which means you can compose them and actually define very, very differentiated UX experiences using these composable APIs. Also, when I spoke about partnership, right, and open banking and the entire collaboration piece, apart from delivering a UI UX, the banks also look at a very well-defined set of open APIs so that they can collaborate with these partners and ecosystems, again, to increase the distribution reach. So together with the UI UX that they offer as their service and the open APIs, they are really able to distribute the distribution channel that they offer to the customers. Under the platform, as we know, we need a well-defined integration platform, which is the second platform, which I'll talk about in the next section, which is we're calling the iTurmeric platform. And of course, below that, we could have product processors, which the customers have chosen to take from Intellect for each of these vertical capabilities, or their bank's product processors. So the channel acceleration platform doesn't really care about which underlying product processor is there. The integration platform abstracts it, but within it, everything is modular and composable, as you can see, from a front to back. Let me give a few more differentiated capabilities that we have thought through in the CBOS, which really give it huge value. Since it's a cloud native microservices based architecture, we have certain foundational microservices, which are irrespective of any horizontal. And as you can see, the underlying platforms, whether it is our own product processors or the banks, expose well-defined APIs and data and streaming events, which are then consumed by the CBOS. And inside the entire CBOS are very, very corporate banking specific, microservices again, which deliver very differentiated capability, right from limits, corporate complex entitlements. We know in a corporate there are multiple workflows, maker, checker, multiple levels, the basic alerts, notifications which go on. And I think two more important points are based on the data in the local channel store, which we are calling the hyper channel store. We are able to give a lot of predictive, not just insights, but the next best action that he can do, which I refer to as service amplifiers in its journey. Now, this is a very important piece in the entire architecture, because the data model of the hyperscale channel store has been designed keeping in mind how can I drive contextual and composable experiences, contextual and composable APIs, and at the same time take care of the hyperscale as the volume and the channel grows. So this is essentially composed of the data and the events which are streamed from the downstream systems, and for the rest of it, it's just APIs. So this gives you a very good idea of how we are able to leverage a very common operating system in the corporate banking landscape, but at the same time provide differentiated experiences through well-defined composable APIs, which are then used to wire the UX or partners. Quick benefits of how the platform then evolves. As we saw, it gives you a modern UX with contextual capabilities. At the same time, if banks who aspire to build their own UI UX are able to keep up with it, with the market trends, using the APIs, the channel APIs. With a converged platform, a lot of the horizontal services are reused, which means if a bank just introduces one service, introducing new services, new domain packs becomes very easy. All of them are extensible, as we saw, and hence the time to market is very rapid when it introduces new products and services to the market. And there is innovation. With the help of the open APIs, they can partner with niche fintechs, other ecosystem players, and really build either innovative apps or composed in a larger distributed system, which really increases the reach of the customers. So this is the first of the acceleration platform which we have, which is purely on the cloud. Let me move to the next important one, which is called iTurmeric, which is a cloud acceleration platform. Here again, let me start first with what are the pain points? Why did we go and build this? In the last 2 years, based on our experiences, we have kind of thought through this from ground up to solve some of the pain points and some of the aspirations the customer has. First is a lot of data and a lot of services are all hidden in the legacy and they need to be unlocked. And the question that banks ask is, how can I abstract all of that complexities in my legacy system, which have multiple protocols, complex message formats? How can I abstract all of that and really publish all of that in a very standardized and simple manner? Another important aspect which come across is the skill set. Usually for building APIs and integrations, right, to accelerate the cloud journey, you need to do an extensive set of build and test. And a lot of the platforms available, the so-called old generation ESBs, are very heavyweight. They need proprietary skills to build and test. And what they're looking for is something which is a low coding framework, something which is configuration and easy to build and test. Third, as a result of all of this, the overall cost of integration when the banks are on the modernization journey and moving to the cloud, where they progressively move to the cloud, which means you have to integrate between on-premise and cloud applications at the same time. So what they're looking for is something which is low cost, which will help them in a very simple and very standardized manner move their entire progressive journey. Some of the desires which we've seen, again, from a cloud acceleration platforms. Yes, there are APIs, but how can I have a very standardized way of designing my APIs, documenting and publishing them, and hence exposing them as digital assets, which are aligned to the business capabilities that I offer? How can I do it in a very quick time? Again, some of these take time because of the entire cycles of dev and testing. How can I increase my integration agility, again, across the two, on-premise and cloud? And using these APIs, can I build a marketplace in which I have innovative apps being developed and then published in the marketplace using the entire API ecosystem? So all of this, what we've done is this platform, which is again a cloud native microservices based platform, allows a bank to really leverage and modernize the journey, at the same time do very simplified API and integration. So let's see what's inside the platform. Before that, as we know, this integrates with Intellect product processors or banks' existing product processors. It can also be used to build simplified channel experiences and at the same time participate in the larger open banking ecosystem. So what we have first is an API exchange, which is nothing but a place where the entire set of APIs, both in and out, can be exposed to the larger ecosystem. The API Studio is where you really define the dictionary of APIs, right? Where you describe them, where you document them, where you can aggregate them. So this is well defined at one place, and these APIs could be coming from any downstream system or our own product processors. The Experience Studio is a unique, simplified front-end studio, which lets you build quick experiences consuming these APIs. And the most heart of the application, which is where the complex integrations happen, which really modernize and abstract these complex product processor protocols, is the Integration Studio, which really convert one format to the other, one protocol to the other, and simplify the entire integration complexity between on-premise and cloud. And last but not the least, an important aspect in today's world is developers who consume APIs need something called virtualized APIs. They need sandboxes in which you don't need the entire downstream setup of data applications. All they need is a well-defined signature where they post that API and they are able to get certain responses, certain errors, so that they can build whatever apps, whatever front ends they wish to, without really having the entire tech stack under it. So this is what a sandbox is there, and the current platform allows you to expose the APIs as a sandbox. Quick detail of what exactly is a differentiator in Turmeric. The API Studio, like I spoke about, lets you design, document, and then catalog APIs. And the heart of the integration studio is really composed of messages which are flowing from one system to the other. And they allow you to compose messages using a dictionary of fields, various flows of messages. An important aspect is when a message flows, when you compose a message, it allows you to debug at runtime. You know, what is the input format, what's the output format, where is the message going wrong, and monitor the entire stuff. All of the information is stored inside a metadata store, which really helps you configure the entire application in a very quick and simplified manner. So how are we positioning this platform as a cloud accelerator? So first is when banks want to modernize the legacy platform. So the legacy system of records are complex, need to expose APIs. This is where it comes in and it drives the channel. The second scenario is a classic API and integration platform where there are our products, there are banks' core products, there are third-party systems, and the Turmeric platform allows you to integrate all of that and simplify the entire integration in a standardized manner. The third positioning scenario is where the bank has decided to build its own channel platform. And here again, Turmeric kind of abstracts the entire complexities of APIs and services and lets the bank build its own channel. And another scenario which we've seen is where we have our channel platform, which you saw in the earlier section, and that is used as the front end for all capabilities, all the virtual domain packs, but there is no backend which allows you to do that. So the Turmeric then talks to the various backend product processors, which are bank specific, and allows you to even share that. So these are the possible, out of the possible of what Turmeric can do for us to really make an entry into a new opportunity and offer the various cloud modernization that it wants to do. Quick summary of what the benefits are. It's a future-proof, lightweight, cloud-native platform. The entire journey is accelerated because everything is standardized. It has a drag and drop kind of a UI, and hence drastic reduction the way in which you build and test the entire integrations. And it becomes a marketplace enabler with the help of the entire API ecosystem that it produces. The last one, which is a very important one from a cloud journey for us, is based on our iSeek learnings and journey of the last 6-7 years. We have been having that application as SaaS. So there are a lot of learnings of how the entire cloud operating model works. And the remaining set of products, right, across our product, across our LOBs, whatever are moving to a cloud journey, we want to leverage the best practices, both in terms of tools, technologies, and processes. And hence, we want to come up with a abstracted Intellect Financial Services Cloud, which uses not just the tools and technologies, but really improves the operating model. So let's see some of the key things that we are looking to do as part of this FinCloud platform. One is, yes, in a SaaS, we choose one cloud provider, but in a true managed PaaS, we want to be cloud provider agnostic. So this platform will really abstract the specifics of each of the Azure's, AWS, and IBM clouds from an infrastructure perspective and provide a very seamless and common provisioning, deployment, and maintenance. Because of the way in which we will leverage all of that, we will come up with a standardized set of tools and technologies which we are publishing. I'll just share that in the next slide. And hence that becomes a common process and guideline for the rest of the product processes to follow. So we don't reinvent the wheel. We are reusing the best of the breed that we already have learnings of, so that each of the products, as we in the journey move to the cloud, leverage the standardization. And last but not the least, because of the entire cloud journey, we have to do automation right from the build to the test to the deploy to the run. And all of this lets you get acceleration. And hence automation is completely built into the fabric of the FinCloud. So let me demystify the entire cloud very quickly. So at the bottom tier, we have the infrastructure tier, which is any of these cloud providers. The second comes where you provision the software on these tiers. So again, as I said, there are the standard set of tools and technologies in some cases, whether it's related to deployment or it's related to security. Then you have the various runtimes. So what we've done is taken a complex cloud infrastructure and platform and really using design thinking, broken it down into 6 tiers, which is what I'm walking you through. And each of them, we have chosen a set of standard technologies, which all our products which are moving progressive to the cloud will adopt in the coming years. So moving on, After the runtime, you have to orchestrate and manage the various applications. So these are the tools and technology which will be used for doing that. And the big one, which is really the heart of the entire thing, is the application development. Again, a certain set of technologies have been chosen based on what are the trade-offs, what problems they solve. And these are the ones which we are building the expertise as part of the cloud operating model. And all this in a cloud world has to be monitored and observed. Otherwise, because cloud is complex, it's distributed. So whether it is logging, whether it's monitoring, whether it's tracing, there are a standard set of tools and technologies available to do that, and we are leveraging all of that. So as you can see, a complex cloud topic has been broken into 6 tiers with the various technologies, and this is what forms the heart of the entire FinCloud. Apart from the tools and technologies, as I spoke about, there is a cycle of continuous integration and continuous delivery. When you plan, you code and build. So this is where, again, not just development automation, security. So all these are security tools which do application security right from the time of design and development and testing. As you're building the software, in testing, we have built a lot of automation tools which we plan to use for all the products as part of the FinCloud platform, and then the deploy, the operate and release. So this is kind of, you can say, the entire engine which will drive our cloud acceleration for the various products as we move our journey to the cloud, leveraging all the best practices, leveraging all the experiences that we've had building the Seek platform. A cloud platform which is for financial services has to have the higher standards of security, right? And this is where application security comes in. Here again, we have a lot of expertise in terms of what application security tools, both static and dynamic, use. How do we do API security? How do you do encryption of the data? How do you do identity and access management? So all of that is baked into the FinCloud platform. And at the same time, certain regulations and compliances based on the geographies and jurisdictions, whether it is related to the information security, data privacy, certain aspects of the cloud native computing foundation, that is the open source that we use, the security and aspects of that, and certain geographical data protection of what data can be stored and how do you audit. So this is all of that will be leveraged as part of the FinCloud for the various products which run on top of it. And lastly, the benefits that we get by standardizing all of this is reuse of assets and cloud best practices within Intellect for the cloud operating model, and hence a really faster time to market for any new products that we move to the cloud in the future. Best in class and really in-depth bulletproof security, both for application level, build level, and infrastructure level, and adherence to the various compliances. And as a result of all of that, we feel that we ourselves will get a lot of economies of scale, just like customers get economies of scale by moving to the cloud, by having a common platform within Intellect and the entire CI/CD automation, DevOps culture, iterative mindset. We ourselves will be having a lot of process efficiencies due to high levels of automation. And that's what the benefit of the cloud. So with that, it was really a pleasure for me to share some of these investments that we have done in the cloud and digital acceleration journey. And with that, I'll hand over to Arun, and thank you and have a good rest of the investor day. Thanks.
Thank you, Rajesh, for demystifying cloud. So I call it demystification, but may not be true for all the investors. Still, there's so much jargon which is there, which make it difficult for them to make a sense that how cloud technology makes Intellect to be investable company. Let me just connect this cloud to the economic model of the business. Intellect makes revenues from 4 sources of business. First is called license revenue. When we sell our technology to a particular bank or insurance company, I charge some amount of license, say $1 million for a license. I charge AMC to support this product for next 10 years, next 20 years, which is 20% of the license value. Then I have some implementation cost for implementing it. Now, cloud gives a 4th set of revenue stream called subscription-based revenue. Now, what is this subscription-based revenue and cloud revenue are important for any company? You can, if I just correlate this industry with a real estate industry called DLF. DLF creates a buildings, make 15-story building and rent out 15 floors at a value of $30,000 per square feet per month for the floor or $40,000 per floor rental. In cloud business, what Intellect does, we also sell the floor without constructing the floor. The floor construction piece which is done, or building construction piece which Rajesh Makija has done the building construction. It's a one-time building construction which is a cloud technology. While rental piece is given to each customer we are hiring new, and that can be given at a value between $30,000 to $100,000 to $500,000 per month, depending on the complexity of the application which we are supplying to the customer. And that number which is there per month number is a ongoing for next 10 years, and this number grows with the volume growth of the customer. So this gives us a very sustainable, repeatable revenue stream, which is the fourth stream of revenue on cloud and subscriptions. Now, for getting into this space, the investment what Rajesh Makija has just demonstrated you, this is a complexity which was there to build up that infrastructure. This complexity was in providing the security, the right kind of compliance, shorter implementation cycle time, shorter POC time. So we explained to you about CBOS first. What is the operating system of so much data elements coming together? That he spoke to you first about it, that how corporate banking operating system is important to get a very high Netflix kind of experience to it. Second, he spoke about iTurmeric. Now to give a context to the iTurmeric, when we have to win a large client, we need to demonstrate that we proof of concept on composability. So if I have a lending application, I have a core banking application, I have a limit management application, can I connect them all together in 2 weeks time or 3 weeks time where we can work on it? We announced recently a deal called Otto from Germany, and that deal is based on connecting and composing multiple technologies and multiple products to deliver to the end customer. And that POC cycle time, since we are able to demonstrate POC cycle time to be substantially lower than any of our competitors, because when they start evaluating a core banking player, they invited 27 players to come into the picture. And when we won the deal, we were least expected winner because a lot of established players of Europe like Temenos, everybody was there in the first leg, but the composability they could not have shown it. So combination of cloud and combination of Turmeric has given us, along with the product processors of lending and core banking, has given us the entire value proposition. So that's a important piece which I want to bring to the attention, that how cloud technology is helping us out. Third thing it helps a company is implementation cycle time. Typically transformation, when somebody is living with, I thought in a technology 1.0 era on COBOL technologies, still exists in financial technology business, client-server technology exists in the business, and the modern ecosystem, fintech players are coming into system. So using Turmeric, I am able to create a marketplace for it and applying them onto Intellect in Cloud. Intellect in Cloud will be launching in next few months in India, US, and for Asia Pacific. But all these technologies are required to be done. Your second question is, I demonstrated the path of revenue. What is the cost associated with it? How your cost structure will go up or not? Because we are promising that we have a cost structure of around $40 million per quarter, which is around 300 crore per quarter. How that structure will remain same. My R&D team is one of the most efficient team. We invest close to 200 crore per year in research and R&D. In last 6 years, we invested close to 1,200 crore in research and R&D, research and development. And those teams are going to be similar teams are working on these technologies. So individually, we invested heavily in two technologies, cloud technology, and I'm going to introduce contextual technology when I would like to invite Deepak Kastala, that how data is a new oil, how do we mine that new oil? Technology has been built from India and US, and he will describe about the technology of contextual technology. So once you understand cloud technology, this cloud technology will be getting applied on digital transaction banking, liquidity management system. It's applied on payment system, trade finance systems, supply chain systems, core banking system, lending systems, brokerage systems, wealth systems. All the technologies are getting applied for all the product suite of it. So that is the combining this is becoming the birth of 3.0. So in 2.0, our existing product journey, which is going to create a wave one of our revenue and profitability, wave two is getting kick-started with the new set of technology which is emerging in. So let me invite Deepak now to share what data as a new oil means and what all the technology means. When I was looking AI business, I remember the movie Alan Turing, the movie on World War II, where he decoded the German code, Enigma code. I think that's where the AI journey started. And today, when AI is there for business application, he applied to win the war against Germany. I think today corporates are winning the war, business war against their competition using AI and machine learning. And for that, the complexity elements what are required to be done, Deepak will explain you. Over to Deepak.
Thank you, Rajesh. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone who joined the Technology Day 2021 across the world. My name is Deepak Dasrala. I am Chief Technology Officer at Intellect. It's been a great privilege for me to talk about one of the most exciting topics of current time, that is data. While pandemic has created havoc across the industries in the last 1 year, there are few companies that have seen the phenomenal growth. And when we look into the reason for the growth, for most of the company, the common factor is data. Either these companies have reimagined themselves as a data company or invested heavily into the data and have reinvented themselves. For example, one of the major investment that happened in one of the companies in India from Facebook, Google is Reliance Jio. They have invested more than $16 billion along with few private investors. Interestingly, Reliance, being a oil company, it has reinvented itself into a data company. So it's very clear that data has become a new oil, providing massive opportunities for those companies who can gather, control, and analyze data. In the last few decades, there is a data explosion has happening, and the world has changed significantly because of data. For example, few years ago, many people in India are so happy with a internet speed of few kilobytes per second. Now, even a megabytes per second is considered as a slow speed. As we speak, every minute, more than 295 billion emails are sent. 54 million WhatsApp messages are shared. More than 400,000 hours of Netflix videos are streamed, and more than 200,000 participants are participating in the Zoom meetings every minute. Just the internet traffic has grown by more than 12% in the last 1 year, and significant amount of the contribution is from the videos. Actually, it's no wonder that the data has exploded exponentially in the last few years. We all do remember that, a lot of data is being shared and created by so many devices. But just to look into the fact, this is not the future. At this moment, at CERN, which is a European organization for nuclear research, where there more than 1 petabytes of data is generated per second from the Large Hadron Collider, which is the largest and the highest energy collider, and which is the world's largest machine. It generates 1 petabyte of data per second. And just last year alone, the videos has contributed to the 1.9 zettabytes of data to the internet traffic. A lot of data scientists use the word yottabyte to measure the data that the US government collects on the people for the security agencies such as NSA and FBI. The moment the 5G devices are out there and the 5G is kind of operationalized across the world, the word to measure the data that is created by the IoT devices, gigabyte. So this is not the future. We are almost there, where this huge amount of data is being generated by the devices that are getting added, billions of devices that are getting added into the world, into the ecosystem. So what does it mean to the business? What does it mean to the enterprise? Everyone knows and understands that they'll get a better outcomes by the data-driven decision making. Just to give the facts that most of the enterprises, the maximum they leverage the traditional enterprise data from systems such as ERP, and the data warehouse. They don't even have a capability to leverage the dark data, which is generated by the web, the social media, and the machine data, either in a semi-structured or unstructured form. When I say unstructured, I refer the data types such as videos, emails, audio files, documents, and any log data, and the web data, and the social media data. And without such capability, the enterprise doesn't have any way to unlock the hidden insights out of this dark data for a better decision making. And we all know that we are moving into with the rise of AI. We are moving into the intelligence era, and already there are clear benchmarking available for those enterprises that have leveraged the data and the AI to make a decision. Their activities increased by 5%. And just to give a few facts, because of the poor data quality or coverage, the US economy loses $3.1 trillion every year because limited data doesn't help the organizations to make informed decisions, and it has a ripple effect on the value chain. And because of all of that, the US economy loses $3.1 trillion. 96% of the companies agree that they don't have a capability to leverage the unstructured data effectively. And 86% of the companies are not able to make a right decisions at the right time because of unavailability of the data. This is the kind of an impact already the businesses have because of unavailability of a capability for them to leverage the data effectively. What is the solution? The kind of explosion that happened with the data, and it is really important for the businesses to leverage the exponential technologies to deal with the problem. Anticipating this change, Intellect has invested in the Fabric intelligent data platform to solve this, to provide a solution for this kind of a problem. So intelligent data Fabric, the intelligent data platform, has 4 key differentiations. Number 1, it is contextual. It provides contextual and the cognitive computing, which is nothing but it has the comprehensive AI model pipeline that helps us to extract the contextual elements such as meaning, time, location, appropriate domain in the multiple sources, whether they are semi-structured or unstructured. And the second differentiation is real-time data ingestion. Our big data layer has a capability to ingest the data from the various structured and unstructured sources at a scale, at the same time maintain the key aspects of a business data such as volume, variety, veracity, and velocity. And the third differentiation is it is born in cloud, and it is a cloud native platform with a microservice architecture and APIs built for intelligent, flexible, scalable, and integratable services. And the last and the most important part is the security. Our platform is built with security and privacy as part of a core principle to access the ubiquitous data in a very secured way. Let us do a deep dive into this particular platform layer by layer. The first layer, which is a cloud and a DevOps layer, we all know that to deal with the big data, it is inevitable that it has to be built on the cloud for the kind of a scale that is anticipated. Because today we might be processing the gigabytes of data, but the platform should be scalable to process the gigabytes of the data. So the whole platform is built in a cloud native architecture to provide the hyperscale. So when I say cloud native architecture, it is containerized and it has the microservices architecture in place. And for us, we always want to be kind of a provide the data as a service or a software as a service. So the multi-tenancy is a key for our platform, which helps us to isolate the data from the compute. And the second, the most important part is the continuous delivery. So we are able to innovate at a scale and deliver the products and the updates to our existing customer without disrupting operations across the geographies. And this platform also helps us to reduce the time to market. When we roll out something, a particular capability to a particular business in US, we have, because we are leveraging the platform and because this platform is hosted across the geographies, we are able to roll out to the different geo in no time. And this platform doesn't not just provide the flexibility and agility because it is cloud, it also provides the resiliency. And more importantly, this platform is built for doing innovation at a scale in a secured way. What does it mean? Is we can quickly roll out we can quickly identify do the R&D in a particular sandbox environment, and once it's built quickly, we can we can move it to the alpha and the beta. So the innovation is very key for us to continue to sustain and also be a leader in what we do, and especially being into the big data and AI, that is a very core part of our work. So this platform provides an opportunity for us to do innovation in a very secure way and roll it out to the business in no time. While this is about the cloud and the DevOps, our next layer is a big data layer. So the key differentiation of this particular capability is for us to ingest the data from the multiple data sources and from whether it is a internal or external, structured or semi-structured or unstructured, in a secured way, and also not just ingesting the data, but also standardizing the data, validating the data, and more importantly, contextualizing the data. Think about doing this at scale across the multiple sources on the multiple data types and able to arrive at what is the source of truth at an element level rather than the source level. It's no mean task. For the last few years, we have mastered this particular capability where now we can add new data sources in few hours, and even in a complex data source can be wired into this particular platform in few days. So that's the kind of a differentiation that we have built with our big data layer. And this is further supported by our AI models to really cleanse the data, because we all know that people generally do struggle with structured data that is already part of the databases and the data warehouses to leverage for any AI use case, because the quality of the data they say is bad. Think about sourcing this data from the multiple sources at scale, at the same time ensuring that the quality of the data is good. So that's the reason we kind of cleanse the data at an input level rather than getting the data and then further cleaning it. And that's another key differentiation from our capability. And moving on to that, the next layer, which is our ML layer. Here we have built many proprietary models in the areas of image processing, natural language processing, and we leverage these particular proprietary models to provide a clear differentiation for the industries that we serve. Being a domain expert in the banking, financial, and insurance industry for the last 30 years, we have built these models for a specific domain, because we all know that there is a challenge in terms of adopting the AI in the business because of an accuracy. Typically, it's because the generic models never work for a particular business because they are not purpose built. So we have purpose built models for the banking, financial industry, insurance industry to provide the highest level of accuracy, which is very critical for a business to adopt. And we have operationalized that at scale for a large insurance carriers and the financial institutes across the world. So Just to give a couple of examples of the models that we have developed. So for one of our insurance carrier, where they, as part of a new business submission, they submit many documents, either in a format of a Word, either as part of or images or Excels. And the challenge here is these documents are bundled in a very different way, which actually takes a lot of domain expertise for the human to unbundle the documents and understand and extract the information from that. At this moment, that's what the back office does. Our models can accurately identify that documents not at a document level, but at a page level. And sometimes we even not just identify the document at a page level, we also can identify the versions of the documents. And this capability really help to automate the classification of a new business submission in insurance industry. For example, Accord is one of the important data standard in the world of commercial insurance, which is accepted across the many countries. And most of the brokers submit the new business documents as an Accord. And typically what they do is there are many Accord document types, many versions and all. People just scan it and completely jumble it. Again, our document classification models can accurately identify that with more than 98-99% of an accuracy and help the business with the straight through processing. And not just the documents and images, we have this capability for Excel also. So basically our text-based classification and image-based classification really helps to classify the documents with the highest level of accuracy. And similarly on the other, with another example, where the people extract the data from the various sources, especially the unstructured sources. When you have the same data element in the hundreds of sources, how do you know which one is the right value? Which one is the one that can be trusted? And that's where our data triangulation and the trust and consensus models helps to identify the right value at an element level rather than source, because typically the businesses used to say that I trust the CRM systems versus the ERP system because they trust the source, but that might not be true for every element. Maybe particular data might be better. And while this is about internal structured data, think about doing this at external unstructured data, and that's the kind of a challenge we solved. And the differentiation for us is purpose-built models for a respective domain, and that's what helps us to provide the last mile accuracy. So our 28 plus image processing models, 18 plus document segment analysis models, 10 plus contextual extraction models really helps to solve the industry problems at scale. And that's a key differentiation from this particular platform. This platform enables us with the two key propositions. The first being the fabric data. So fabric data is nothing but it is a data as a service proposition for the businesses to gain the 360-degree intelligence on any entity, whether it is a company or a person in the context of the locations. So this capability helps to extract the data from the various unstructured third party and the structured sources and provide a 5,000 plus data points on a comprehensive company, location, and the people data models. And this capability is heavily leveraged by the insurance and the banking industries to identify the risk, especially during the underwriting scenarios. But also this capability is moving beyond purely the risk from the typical risk parameters. This is being leveraged for the new opportunities or new risks. For example, some of the banking investment management companies are leveraging this to identify how the companies are performing on the ESG, one of the important criteria for the people to whether to invest into the company or not invest in the company, and the climate change, understand the climate change data, understand the human trafficking data. So these are the various data elements in context of the company or people that the companies are leveraging this capability for. So, and depending upon the use case, we build the custom packages and help them to get only those data elements that they are required through the API. And our second proposition is IDX, which is an intelligent document extraction capability, which can contextually extract the data from the various semi-structured or unstructured documents. And one of the major challenges for most of the banking, financial, and insurance institutes not every process is straight through. At the max, I think only 20% of the process are straight through in the current times. And when we look a little bit deep into this challenge, why the 80% of the process are not straight through, most of them involves manual touch points because it involves reading and understanding the documents to make a decisions. And for example, in banking, trade finance, mortgage applications, and in the insurance, it is a new business submissions, and in other industries like KYC and other things. So all these documents involve, all this process involves a most number of documents. And earlier, the digital technologies are never prepared to address this kind of a challenge. With rise of AI and the maturity that is happening in terms of the natural language processing and the computer vision, now we have an opportunity to enable the straight-through processing for these businesses. So we have built a state-of-the-art NLP models and the computer vision models to address this particular problem. And also, this is not just used for an extraction; it also used for many regulatory scenarios. For example, recently we launched Magic Aadhaar, which helps the businesses to redact the personally identifiable information or any sensitive data. So just to give an example on this, the nature of work that we do, it's like typically in any other scenarios, the understanding of Aadhaar might be more position based. Someone has scanned the Aadhaar document and probably the AI models can just identify that. But what we do is we don't even need that. We actually, even if Aadhaar number is captured in any application form, just a number, it need not be a proper Aadhaar card scan copy. We can understand it is an Aadhaar number and we can redact that and all. So that is the level of the maturity that we have in our AI models, which can deal with the complex scenario of where the bundled documents, where the Aadhaar could be anywhere, and irrespective of a position, and irrespective of just that number being part of Aadhaar card, we can identify and redact the information. So that's a kind of a work that we have done in terms with our AI models. And just to summarize what we have spoken so far in terms of a platform, and our intelligent data platform has three major propositions. First one is our Fabric platform, which is the underlying layer of cloud DevOps and the big data and the AI models, which actually helps us to do the continuous delivery. And our Fabric data and IDX are the customer propositions which we have, where the Fabric data helps in terms of providing the 360-degree intelligence in the context of company and the person and the location, and which the businesses use to make a decision related to the risk. And our IDX is a document extraction, contextual document extraction platform, which can extract the data from the semi-structured or unstructured documents. And this helps in terms of doing the straight-through processing or doing the hyper-automation for the business. And with these three capabilities, what is the difference that we want to make to the businesses? Always industry looks for those capabilities that helps some of their tasks to make it faster, better, and cheaper. And information always remained the valuable currency, at least in the financial world. So with these capabilities, we want to make the information, we want to provide a greater access to such currency in a faster, better, and a cheaper way. And just to further substantiate the kind of impact the platform has already created, look at this industry recognition in the last 1 year. And one of the FTSE 100 wealth management company in the UK won the Celent Model Wealth Manager Award for leveraging the IDX for their compliance process in the category of emerging technology. And the recent rating from the Navarika of IDX, it's been compared against the industry stalwarts like Google, AWS, and also expert capabilities in this particular domain like EBI, Kofax. Against all of them, we are rated very high in the category of advanced underwriting with AI and ML capability. And also, and all these awards has been we won in the developed markets like US and UK, and this just substantiates our thought that the kind of capability that we have built, where we can make a significant impact to the world in the area of data and AI. Thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to hear from you. Over to you, Arun.
Thank you, Deepak, for taking to the complex architecture of AI machine learning. Just to give a context to the investors, I think this is a space which is the most crowded space in America and Europe or all the advanced markets, including India. I think the way we trying to address this problem differently from other players in the industry is we started working as a first again as a operating system of a data operating system, which is a 4-layer, which has been explained by Deepak, and how each layer is working as a operating system layer for data management. And then moving to 2 basic product operating system. One is about the data and second about the document. So in data space, we have a competition in the marketplace. If you want to be interested in looking at it, there's a company called Palantir in US and Carpe Data. And there are similar companies which will show from Novarica report. And in document space, there are 2 stalwarts which are there, which do the visioning of the document, computer vision. They use OCR techniques for extracting the data from the documents, is a Kofax, and second company is Abby. These are 2 companies which are $500 million each on the revenue side, which are helping the bank to read the document contextually. Now these 2 platforms what we built, it's not a pipeline product, but it's a platform we built. Now we have solved one problem in the US, which Banesh will take you through, called magic submission for the underwriters. The second problem on the same platform, we use magic Aadhaar. On the same platform, I can use for lending, reading the documents. On the same platform, I'm planning to use for trade finance. On the same platform, I'm planning to use for the wealth management area. So underlying technologies are same. To build up a business product around each product line and supporting those products on AI, it is taking me a cycle time of 16 weeks to launch new product onto this platform, on the basis of this platform. Initially, it took 3 years to build this platform, but now to roll out new product line, new use cases, including compliance use cases or regulatory use cases, it is happening in less than 16 weeks. And each use case build-up cost is substantially lower than anybody would have spent otherwise, and they are fully on a cloud, fully secure, including data encryption layers. So that's the power of it. Till now, we launched this product 1.5 years back. Anish will take you through the whole journey in his presentation deck. I don't want to take that point out. We'll answer that question later on, how the revenue stream could be there. As of now, there are some questions which has been positioned in a chat box. So I will try to answer some questions. Some questions are business related, which Manish of GTB, Rajesh in GCB, as well as Banesh will answer those questions. There is a question, is Fabric has already been launched or is due? It is already launched. It's 2 years in the US market, which is working, one of the most toughest market which is working. There's a question called, if a bank would like to host the apps in their private cloud, do your platform support that, or you only recommend the public cloud platforms like AWS and Azure? Obviously, we recommend public cloud because it requires a lower cost of us to maintain. But for large client, which is a tier 1 client, which are top of want to host it in a private cloud, our applications are designed to replicate our cloud design there. Do you expect SaaS model to become important to your customers? Yes, we were expecting the cloud should have taken by 2021 or 22. Our plan was in 22, but I think we need to accelerate this plan, and COVID has accelerated that journey. A lot of investment which you see in digital company is around cloud acceleration, and that's what we are seeing. The SaaS model is accelerating faster than what we envisaged, but still it will remain 50-50 to our mind. There are some question is how many people in R&D? We have close to 800 people in R&D, which are almost 800 people come sometime during the cloud transition. it became 1100 people during the cycle of 18-19 when we invested. Instead of 200 crore, we invested 245 crore annually in that area. That time the headcount increased, but now it seems to be 800 people are good for us for our next 3-year journey. So it's not going to increase substantially in the next 3 years of our journey. With this, I would like to invite Manish for presenting how does he see the market and how he is driving the GTB vision for being leader in the marketplace. Thank you, Manish, for joining this technology day. And the idea is how do you connect your products to technology day, all your products which are there, starting from DTB, digital transaction banking products, CBX, your liquidity management system, trade and supply chain finance systems, and payment systems, how they are become composable and contextual. So over to Manish.
Arun, thanks for sharing your vision and your views, and thanks Deepak and Rajesh sharing the technology vision. I'm going to take an next 30 minutes to walk us through our IGTB journey. A very, very big thank you to each one of you for being part of our wonderful journey. Your company is now a unicorn, and your company is not just a unicorn, is also now worldwide #1 best-selling wholesale banking, transaction banking solution in the world. This is a big moment of pride. I owe this to all our customers and Intellect associates who have contributed in this journey, working tirelessly to help us grow. Our journey truly started about 3 decades ago, working along with Citibank during our Polaris days, where we innovated in this journey. This journey has led us through 25 years of transaction banking paths, from being born as Intellect, from being listed as Intellect, to leading in different spaces over the 25 years. And now, last year, we were rated as #1 best-selling product worldwide by IBS. That's a big honor for all of us in this journey. We have now got about 94 customers worldwide across 91 countries who have trusted us in this journey. A platform has been built on contextual, composable, hyperscale, secure cloud technologies in leading this us. And this has helped us, our customers, deliver the lowest TCO in the marketplace. Our vision of consumerization of commercial banking is designed to give the power to our customer wherever in the new world they are. They can do their self-service enablement. They can understand the data with the power of AI ML and apply contextuality to the transaction they are doing. So it's on-tap functionality extension and a uniform customer experience. So what you saw in a consumer world, now we're able to bring that to the corporate world. Our customers have been leading the transaction banking marketplace, and they've had a very strong, successful growth. And we've been part of some of these journeys, and we feel very proud of it. We've had global customers who have led this space, as well as GCC, which is one of our largest market. All the top 8 banks are our current customers, and we feel proud to be having participated in this journey along with them. Our customers are not only helping us grow, but they're also our big promoters. Very big thank you to each one of them for giving us an NPS score of 60. This is industry's best NPS score across the board, where average industry benchmark for tech companies is about 43. This is again been managed because of the tireless effort of each of my team members and the passion for customer centricity to bring this to this stage. At this stage, I'll have one of our esteemed customers, CIBC CIO, who joined us in this growth journey as a board member on our Growth Advisory Council. We'll have few words shared by Dave. Welcome, Dave.
What I think about what it means to run a mission critical system, I mean, basically job number one is these systems can't go down. The last thing in the world you want to be doing as a CIO is sitting in front of the board of directors and the CEO and explaining why your commercial banking customers can't be doing business because the systems have failed. When I think about IGTB as a partner providing solutions in that space, they have a great track record. We had some of our core systems across both banks that I had worked for that were entrusted to IGTB, and basically they never let us down. When I think about companies that distinguish themselves as partners versus vendors, number one in my mind is thinking about customer centricity. These are the companies that really care about my results of running the business and delivering value for my customers versus just going on to the next sale. And believe it or not, as simple as that sounds, that is far from the norm within the industry. I have dealt with some truly bad stories about companies who really are only interested in the next sale and they're not focused on delivery. And for me, an absolutely critical component of a partner and someone I want to continue doing business with is someone who focuses on me and my business. And that's something that I've always found is front and foremost in terms of every transaction that I have dealt with IGTB. A key characteristic in my mind of really great partners to work with are those companies that undercommit and overdeliver. And I can clearly remember actually an interesting conversation that I'd had to have with our board of directors related to one of the implementations of an IGTB system, where when I looked at my competitors across the street in terms of a few other banks who had also gone down this road, and I was pleased to be able to report that the solution that we put in place had actually wound up coming in at about half the cost and at half the time of the competitive solution. So this undercommit and overdeliver is something I loved as a CIO, and IGTB really delivered. I like that strong engineering and design are really baked into the DNA of Intellect and IGTB. And I think that actually starts at the very top of the house. To this day, when I speak to Arun, there is nothing that he enjoys more than actually rolling up his sleeves and talking as an engineer and getting into the nitty-gritty details about technology. I see IGTB as a clear leader in modern scalable architecture, APIs and microservices, and cloud-native design. IGTB is a company that I've worked with and had a relationship with for a long time. When I think of my personal commitment of being involved going forward with the Growth Advisory Board, I think first and foremost is the fact that I think that the company has tremendous opportunities for growth. I think the products are excellent, the architecture and the design is second to none, and I truly think that there's an opportunity to grow dramatically going forward, and I want to be a part of that as part of the Growth Advisory Board.
Thank you, Dave, for your kind words. Not only our customers have been endorsing us in this journey, 12 market leading analysts have helped us shape this journey of our leadership and consistently ranked us as number one. This is truly helping us to be the partner of choice for digital transaction banking transformation programs worldwide. This is consistently, if you see, for the last 4 years, a breadth of endorsements from each of these analysts. It's a moment of pride again for each one of us. And this pride comes from our investment we have put in a modern cloud platform around these 5 platforms: digital transaction banking, the contextual banking experience, liquidity management platform, the payment services hub platform, and trade supply chain platform. All these 5 constitute a complete life cycle of what a global transaction bank would need. So we have different slices of young banks wanting this all as an integrated digital transaction banking to super large global banks taking a sliver of this specifically and building depth around that. So over the next few minutes, I'll talk through each of these platforms. Our first platform, DTB, our integrated transaction banking platform, is now live at 57 customers at across 34 countries. There's no other vendor who has a fully integrated cash and trade supply chain platform built organically. There are people who have acquired and go out to market, but the data structures are not consistent. The experience is not similar. So it's a proud from that perspective. That's helped us, if you look at over the last 4 years, win 60% of all RFPs we have participated in this in our last 4 years journey. So that's the moment of pride from that. A second platform, which is CBX. Our journey on CBX, again, like I said, started with Citi building the largest Citi Direct platform about 25 years ago. Since 2005, when Intellect was constituted, we've taken this platform, built a modern new platform, and taken it out to 56 customers again across 55 countries. What we did with Citi 90 years for 90 customers, now we have done it along in Intellect with 55 countries and 56 customers. Again, this is a platform which is built with 1,000 plus proven customer transaction banking journeys, offering more than 450 open banking APIs. So this is ready for the new world for open banking, cloud-enabled technologies, completely, truly cloud native from that perspective, and the only platform which can offer these capabilities across transaction banking. And you will not find someone else with that depth of functionality. Our next platform is liquidity management. This is by far the #1 market leader in liquidity management. World's top 40 banks are powered by this, and it supports about 56 countries worldwide. The statistics over there is staggering, and if you see, we sweep over $4 trillion of cash every day. We've got 23% of major currency cross-border sweeps happening across the worldwide, and we're able to allocate over $35 trillion of notional pool every year. This is truly market-leading #1 product. The opportunity on this is very large, and I will in subsequent slides talk about it. All the top 150 large global banks with over assets over $100 billion, as well as all financial institutions, are looking for some technology like this to manage their liquidity capabilities. Our next platform is payment services. This is heart of any transaction banking, and we currently support 36 customers worldwide across 30 countries. One of our largest European customers has been rolling this platform in every 4 to 6 weeks and has rolled it across 19 countries. That's the speed and essence of how quickly it adapts to market platforms and standards, and we're able to roll it out rapidly across customers. Our next platform is the oldest and the youngest. Why I say oldest and youngest? Because we started our journey with Citi in late 90s, building the Citi Trims platform. But then we modernized our cash platforms after acquiring all those assets in early 2005. We started our cash growth journey. And 5 years ago, we went on to the trade and supply chain user journeys and modernizing this platform on the cloud. We currently have, over the last 5 years, acquired 20 customers across 11 countries. And very proud to share that the largest European transformation and the largest Asian transformation currently is underway, leveraging this technology. And this is truly a moment of pride, again, with new technologies coming and adoption of the same by our customers and promoters. We're taking time to roll this out successfully for them. And now we are ready to roll it out to a much larger marketplace, which has been spending time on upgrading all the SWIFT mandates. And the COVID has really accelerated the digital demand for trade and supply chain. And we have a complete trade digital platform integrated with a large partner ecosystem to digitize the entire life cycle of a trade. And we're looking at rolling this out now aggressively across the markets. So these were the story of our top 5 platforms of how we have taken it out. We feel very humbled to have participated in 90 plus transformations globally. And we've now taken upon ourselves to take that experience and learning back to each of our customers who have helped us grow this journey through our IGTB Oxford School of Transaction Banking. This is a premier by invitation customer event for networking and knowledge engaging sessions. This happens every year in London at IGTB Oxford School of Transaction Banking, where every every prospect and customer comes and shares their knowledge, and we bring in our knowledge of some of our leaders having led that transaction banking in this space. Let's hear to the video of what their experiences have been in through this learning session and see what they have to say. Please play the video.
Yet again, the IGTB Oxford School of Transaction Banking has proved a runaway success. Guest speakers with been there, done that transaction banking stories, practical exercises, networking and cultural events delighted the CXO level invited graduates from 21 banks across 13 countries. But let's hear what they think.
Has been a really interesting experience. So the whole program stretching really from A to Z in transaction banking.
It's intense. It's 3 days, but it's amazing. You get to learn about transaction banking. You get back to the basics. For some of us, some of them who have been doing transaction banking for a while, you get to meet great people. People from all over the world who are in their own rights experts in transaction banking.
Very enlightening. I found it an excellent opportunity to network with my peers that are working in the field and finding their experiences and using their experiences to augment my own understanding of transaction banking.
I learned that simple is difficult. I learned that we need to be more open in terms of transparency with our customers. We need to listen more. We need to think what our customers are telling us.
The examples from peers and other banks around the world was a valuable feedback for us to see how to move forward on transaction banking.
This whole dream has been brought to life by my friend Andrew England and Ted Malloch, who are the directors of this IGTB School of Oxford. And Andrew is also helping lead the research and learning programs out of IGTB Oxford School. All the research is published through this. From our knowledge, analyzing what the markets are happening to the IGTB Oxford School of Research. Andrew also runs a learning school for our customers on corporate banking of how to transform their transaction banks, how to run relationship management, product management. These are for the younger banks where they need help of going through this journey of how they can scale up their business offerings and how they can take these offerings successfully, where all large global banks are making a lot of fee-based income. So that's where Andrew helps each of our customers lead this through them. Our leadership is guided by the 5 leaders you see, along with my 3 growth advisory board members, Andrew England, Dave Rowell, and Ted Malloch. My 2 business leaders, Upali, who runs the digital and payments and liquidity, and Atanu runs DTB trade and supply chain, supported by Phil and a CMO role, and Rajesh as our CTO. This team of 8 is really guiding the world-class team of 1800 plus to how to take this out, our technology to the marketplace, and help each of our customers win more in the marketplace. Thank you to each one of you. Now, the question of how do I grow and accelerate what we have done on our market coverage till now. We've talked about this multiple times to each one of you. As of 2021, we've got 94 customers using 2.7 products on an average. That's a yardstick which we made. And we looked at for next 5 years to grow it by 50%, to take it to 150 customers, as well as take it to 4 products per customer. So if you look at, it's taking about 250 opportunities to about 600 opportunities. That's quite a growth journey of 4x. Till now, we had been focusing on a SAM of 300 top banks where we were taking this technology. And now with advent of digital and COVID, what it has done, the acceleration on cloud has really accelerated. And we've now identified 150 more additional banks which can consume this technology, mid-tier and emerging banks on cloud, and also, like I said, taking it out to asset management and financial institutes of how they can run this. This will help us increase our market share from about 6% to 21%. That's a staggering 3 times over the next 5 years. That's the journey the team promises to run and lead with it, and I will keep sharing that consistently, regularly with you. We have a very evolving and expanding technology partner programs. This is system integrators, cloud partners, technology providers who help accelerate and build these technologies, and we adapt as we go out to market. All our products are now ready, and the organization is ready to deliver growth over the next 5 years. And I thought I will share with you what are the top 7 reasons we win in the marketplace. By far, number 1 reason is our customers as promoters. I've taken true pride in building customers as promoter, delivering first time right, building trust through first time right deliveries. That's the cornerstone of any successful partnership. And then these market leading products have helped me establish a global footprint of about 90 plus customers across 91 markets. And we have consistently invested to modernize our platforms. And all our platforms are now ready on cloud, which helps us distribute it to a larger space, as well as help our customers, the banks, to reduce the cost of ownership. So there's a big focus on helping them manage the cost to income, and truly the TCO is the lowest with our platforms. This is backed by a true execution track record, and that's why we've got an NPS of 60. And this is something I want to challenge each one of my team members to continue to live up to it. This is truly our asset and our pride, and we have to live up. And this has been consistently supported by market analysts in endorsing us as number 1, and a very experienced and stable leadership team which have been through this journey with me for the last 15 years. Finally, the only brand that focuses on GTB and has been built up organically, so which is very important. Our attention and focus is only on GTB, and our platforms have been built organically. So we don't go and integrate acquired platforms over there. That gives us the edge. And that are the top 7 reasons we have been winning out in the marketplace. And I look forward to continuing this journey over the next 5 years to give that 3x growth from opportunities to each one of you. I look forward to continued support and trust from all of you. And once again, a very big thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Manish. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's a pleasure to talk to you after almost 18 months. A lot has passed in the last 12 months, and I'll be happy to share our story today. Just to remind ourselves, GCB consists of 6 product lines. Our first product line, the flagship product, is Digital Core, where we have a proposition IDC, digital lending, market leading product on central banking. We have now added a new product line called Digital Bank. We've added Digital Bank because we are seeing a lot of momentum in this area, and you will hear more about it from me later during this presentation and over the next couple of quarters. Our omni-channel platform, and I've kept cards a little separate because cards is a product that we are still investing in, and we want to continue to invest this in the first half of the next fiscal, and you'll hear more about the cards proposition in years to come by. So with that, let me begin. Today's presentation I've structured around 5 chapters. I'm going to start and talk a little bit about 2020, the market size from a retail banking perspective, and some key technology trends that we are seeing in the retail banking space. My second chapter will be built around the 4-pronged strategy that we have. And in this chapter, I will connect our strategy to the trends that I will talk in the first chapter. Chapter 3, I will talk a little bit about what we are seeing from an Intellect winning perspective, what is making us win in the market. Chapter 4, I'll talk about 3 case studies, and these 3 case studies are destiny deals that we have won during this fiscal year 2021 in the first 9 months. and finally I'll end it up with a very short summary. Year 2020 was an unprecedented year, and a lot has been written and spoken about it. From our perspective, we've seen a need of the banks to accelerate their digital transformation and customer experience across customer journeys. The second thing which has really happened in year 2020 has been that it has forced us, both us, Intellect, and the banks to work in a remote manner. And these two reasons, I would say, are the key reasons that we were able to grow, not only sustain 2020, but also grow during this year. During this year, we have grown, our revenues have grown nicely, and we've been able to acquire many new logos during this year. This chart shows you some of the logos. This is a representative sample of some of the deals that we have won in 2021, in fiscal year 2021, in the first 9 months of this year. While we have grown our revenue, won new deals and won new logos, we have also been validated by our analysts, by our external analysts. I'd like to talk about a couple of them. IBS Intelligence has ranked us as #1 in the annual sales league table 2020, and this is the second time in row that we've been ranked as #1. Gartner has ranked us in the Magic Quadrant for retail banking for the last 7 years, and we've also won a couple of awards during this time. This is one of my favorite slides because this really talks about how an analyst views our customer experience on our delivery, on our sales process. So this chart gives you the way to read this chart is really, if you look at, for example, let's look at Temenos. Temenos has had 65 reviews done by their customers, and they've got a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, which is a 3.8 scale rating. If you look at Intellect, we've had 32 customers who have reviewed us and have given us a rating of 4.4. Needless to say, Intellect continues to be the highest rating among our peers in this survey, and this is a very objective survey which is done in a very confidential manner by Gartner every year, and this is the latest survey results that I'm sharing with you. Let me move on to size of the market. From a size of the market perspective, based on our own assumptions and the way we look at the market, we believe that the total addressable market for retail banking technology space is around $60 billion. When I remove the markets where we are not present, etc., we believe that the service addressable market that Intellect has as of today is about $11 billion. This market is growing at a CAGR of 10%, so we assume that this $11 billion will become about $16 billion by 2025. What's also interesting to note here is the SaaS revenue component. You can see that the SaaS revenue component is about 15% right now, but as we grow, it grows disproportionately higher, and by 2025, we expect the SaaS revenue to be 40% of the total market revenue pool size. The interesting point and the important point on this slide really is that if I look at the market space and the opportunity that exists for Intellect, at least for the next foreseeable future, for the next couple of years, I think we have enough headroom for growth from a retail banking perspective. Let me talk a little bit about the trends that we are seeing in the market, and these are the trends that we believe are the trends, and these are also the trends that when we talk to our customers, we talk to our prospects, and when we talk to our analysts, this is what we are hearing in the space. From a retail bank technology trends perspective, there are 6 important trends that we are seeing. The first and the most important trend is the digital customer experience, especially around digital onboarding. Most of the customers are looking at an API first, open API and a cloud native architecture. Cloud and SaaS, we've talked about it, it's seeing a rapid acceleration. Agility and DevOps, and that's an important point because no longer are banks interested to have a long waterfall type of an implementation. Gone are the days when the banks would expect 18 to 24 months of implementation. What we are seeing now in the market, more and more need of the market is agile implementation and DevOps. Data insights is becoming the new oil. I think we've already had a presentation about this, so I won't belabor this point, but data insights using AI, machine learning on some customer journeys is becoming more and more important. And finally, last but not the least, marketplace and ecosystem thinking is becoming important. So that was really chapter one. As we move to chapter two, I think from an intellect perspective, you've heard us many times talk about our strategy of a calibrated, consistent, and profitable growth trajectory in medium to long term. But if you look at it from a GCB perspective, our purpose is very simple. Our purpose is to enable our customers, which are in our case banks and financial institutions, deliver customer delight to their customer at the lowest TCO. And in order to meet this purpose, our strategy is really a four-pronged strategy. It's built around four pillars. The first pillar is around architecture, how the latest technology architecture is a key strategy pillar number one for our growth. The second strategic pillar is really around our product growth, our line of product growth engines. The third strategy is built around Europe. It's about Europe strategy. And fourth is really about marketplace. Let me spend a couple of minutes on each of these four strategic pillars. Let me first talk about the technology architecture. About 12 months back, we moved in a journey from moving into API first, open API cloud native architecture, and that's a journey that we started about 12 months back. And I believe that in the last 12 months, we are now in a market leading position from an architecture perspective. So all our products are in a microservices architecture. We use container technology for deployment, flexibility, and scaling. I already talked about agile implementation and continuous delivery. We're building a DevOps culture. And also important that we have become, all our products are cloud agnostic, and they can be deployed either on a private cloud or a public cloud or even in a hybrid cloud model. I think from an architecture perspective, Rajesh Makhija has already taken you through this slide, so I'm going to skip this slide in interest of time. But moving on to the next slide, and here what I wanted to really give you was a bird's eye view of how we are reimagining lending. About 12 months back, for us, lending was a monolithic application. In the last 12 months, we have moved into multiple microservices which are independently version controlled. They can be sold independently, they are managed independently, and they can be deployed independently. For example, if you look at this chart, you will see, and if you focus on the the bottom left part of the slide, you will see loan management itself. We have broken down into 9 microservices, right, which can be independently controlled and deployed. For example, leasing is a separate microservices, inquiries and analytics is a separate microservice, etc. So this was just to give you a view of how we are reimagining the complete architecture from a lending perspective. And this is something that we have done for IDC, this is something that we have done for CBX, and this is also something that we have done for a quantum banking project. Our second pillar of growth is really about product line growth strategy. And let me talk a little bit about that. All of you are aware that IDC 21, that's the latest version of the IDC flagship product, right? And the value proposition, so to speak, is about of IDC 21 is really about having the full functionality, the functional breadth that we have. None of our competitors have that. And what's more, we have gone one level down and broken that into composable services. For example, now we have deposits, we have tellers, we have general ledger, we have trade finance, AML, treasury, etc. All of these composable services are independent microservices and can be sold and deployed independently. Our second value proposition is on our digital 360. This is about our apps for retail and corporate banking. And what we have done in our IDC 21 version is that we've decoupled the UI from the business logic layer, and we have done a total refresh of a UI. We've also revamped UX with our IDC 21. So IDC 21 comes with a very contemporary look and feel of the platform. Talking about inbuilt analytics, we have contextual dashboards and predictive analysis. On our value proposition number 5, we have brought in this version, we've brought in an enterprise-wide pricing engine. We've also added the functionality of product bundling. These two functionalities were not there in our earlier versions, so we've added that in IDC 21. We also have now in 21 the capability of having multilingual segments. From a value proposition 5 and 6, it's really about our architecture and how we are using architecture to scale up, enhance BPM, and how we are cloud agnostic. Moving on to the next slide. What we have also done in IDC 21 I talked about in the previous slide on the breadth of functionality. Here what we have done is we've gone even one layer lower and said that we now have 100 packaged business capabilities which are supported by IDC 21. These 100 capabilities can be sold actually either independently or they can be aggregated and sold. So this is how we are building a composable banking proposition in IDC 21. And this is done not only through Intellect IP, but also through a couple of third-party partners. From an API perspective, we now have 900 plus APIs, and we are in the journey of moving towards buy-in compliance. So in order to summarize, how do we look at IDC 27 from an outside-in perspective? This is probably an analyst view. We talked about the breadth of functionality, the rich breadth that we have across core, lending, trade, treasury, etc. Our latest architecture, which we now believe is the market-leading architecture that we have now. We are recognized for API, microservices, and open banking as per Gartner. We have been rated as a flexible vendor by Forrester. And as I showed you in the Gartner peer survey, we've got excellent customer feedback from not only from Gartner, but from Forrester, Celent, and IDC. And also operations is a bright spot. And as I talked about the TCO, Gartner rates us as the lowest, as a vendor which has the lowest cost of maintenance. So moving on to product growth engine 2, which is our lending proposition, IDL 21. The 6 value propositions are very similar to what I talked about in IDC, but in quickly, I think we are the only competitor who has a full lending suite across retail, SME, corporate. Again, we've broken down lending into composable components, origination, loan management, collateral, limit management, and debt management. From a digital 363, from a digital outside perspective, we have apps. We have apps across digital agency, digital collector, relationship management tablet, and onboarding. From a contextual and real-time perspective, we have a machine learning-based credit risk analyst algorithm, and we have contextual data capture. Our value proposition 4 is around a powerful backend, which has industry standard workflow engines now. And our value proposition 5 and 6 is again based on our architecture built around performance and security benchmarks. In one of the POCs that we did recently for a Europe client, we were able to scale, or we were able to demonstrate a 5-minute critical EOD for about 1 million and 1.2 million loans. Our APIs can be benchmarked at about 400 to 600 TPS, and our lending suite, we can offer a TPS now of up to 7,000 TPS. Our third strategy, product growth strategies around digital bank. I'm not going to get into this slide, but this is really a slide about one of the opportunities that we are chasing in a Middle East bank. We are seeing a lot of space, a lot of momentum in this space, and this is how we have reimagined digital bank from an IDC perspective and a marketplace thinking perspective. I'll talk a little bit about digital bank later. Our product growth engine 4, which is a central banking proposition, what we call as the quantum central banking solution, is a market leading solution. And in this year, in fiscal 21, we've added 3 more modules in this platform, and now we have 12 platforms in this quantum banking, which none of our competitors have this kind of breadth. And with the microservices architecture, both from a breadth perspective and from an architecture perspective, we believe that this is a winning proposition. And today, I'm happy to state that we have 11 central banks who are using this proposition. So this proposition cuts across banking services, government services, general ledger, vault management, collateral management, credit market operations, treasury and risk, and trade finance, and national payment system, credit aggregation, and cross-border foreign exchange and transaction. Let me talk a little bit about Europe. We've talked about Europe, and Europe has delivered a good double-digit growth for us this year and will continue to grow well for us. Our strategy around Europe is simple. We want to build capabilities around 2 countries, UK and Germany. We already have capabilities built in UK. Now we are building our capabilities in Germany, and that's work in progress. We're building our solution, delivery, and hosting capabilities in Germany. We have 2 marquee clients, Cater Island and Otto in Germany, and we are in last 2 in many deals. We want to leverage these 2 accounts, and both these accounts are referenceable. We want to leverage these 2 accounts and grow our footprint in this market. We are in the process of developing or building a fully hosted IDC solution in AWS in Germany, and we already have that solution in UK. Our solution is regulatory compliant, open banking compliant, and PSD2 compliant. And shortly, in the next couple of weeks and months, we will be launching a new product in Europe that has been custom built. We are tentatively calling it Credit 360, but that's a product that will be shortly launching in Europe. Just to give you a couple of key points about this new platform, Credit 360, as we are calling it, this is a custom designed solution. This is something that we have seen is a white space in Europe, and we have custom designed it. And we've custom designed this solution for Europe from us. It basically has a convergence of lending, cards, and payments. And what we have done here is that we have really curated this solution from the multiple IPs that we have. It has the cloud native architecture, and you will hear in the coming weeks and months about this solution from us. Last but not the least, our strategy is really around marketplace. And this is an important slide of how we're looking at and trying to build a retail banking operating system. This slide tells you how, with IDC at the core, we are tying up with multiple niche fintechs and other players in this market space environment and offering our clients a full marketplace thinking and a solution to them. How do we compare vis-a-vis competition? We started late in this journey. Actually, we started last year in this journey, and probably Mambu is the gold standard in this. Mambu started this journey from a marketplace perspective in 2014, and we still need to do a lot of catch up, but we are well on its way, and hopefully by the end of this year, we would be competitively much better placed and would be at par with some of our competitors from a marketplace perspective. Let me now move from our strategy now to why we are winning, to give you a sense about why we are winning in the marketplace. So there are really 6 reasons that we have seen, and this is what our salespeople, our solution people tell us when we talk, and also our clients and prospect tell us when we say why we are winning in the marketplace. Our first and most important thing is our breadth of functionality, that the functionality or the breadth that we bring to the table, none of our competitors is able to bring. The second thing, and I think I talked about this, we started our journey of modernizing from an architecture perspective, to 12 months back, we went into that journey. This is a journey of building a completely API first, open API and cloud native architecture. My belief is that at the stage that where we are now market leading from an architecture perspective. While we bring the breadth, as I talked about in the first point, our domain expertise gives us the depth that we bring by our BFSI pedigree. When we talk to our customers and our prospects, most of our customers tell that the way you understand my business, the way you are able to articulate the solution, none of your competitors are able to do that. And that's because of the domain expertise, the BFSI pedigree that we bring. I think I talked earlier about agile implementation and how it's becoming more and more important, and how we are moving from a waterfall method to an agile implementation. One of the other reasons is deal intensity and customer referenceability that we bring to the table. Being an entrepreneurial organization, we are able to bring that intensity that some of our traditional competitors may not be able to bring. We are able to bring in all the resources from different lines of businesses within Intellect from a deal intensity perspective, and that's probably reflecting in some of our wins. And last but not the least, again, the way we've articulated our story around marketplace and ecosystem thinking, that's resonating very well in the market space. This slide kind of gives you why we win. And if you look at traditional vendors as probably as Temenos, Oracle, Finacle, etc., we win against them because of our architecture, because of the breadth of functionality that we bring. Because and also the third reason being that we are from a TCO perspective, most of our clients are saying that when they do a 5-year or a 7-year TCO, when they put the software, hardware, and put everything together, from an Intellect perspective, they find us 10 to 15% lower TCO versus our competitors. And I think I talked already about the deal intensity advantage that we have against our traditional vendors. From a neo vendors perspective, and this could be Mambu, this could be Encino or Thought Machine, why we are winning is because of the depth and the breadth that we bring. Some of these vendors are not able to bring that. One-stop vendor, very interesting point. Mambu brings with it, for example, a full marketplace partners, but a bank has to individually sign up with all these partners. So that in Intellect, they can do it as a one-stop vendor. So that's a great advantage to the banks, and also the references that we bring to the table. So these are some of the reasons why we win against traditional vendors, and why we win against some of our neo vendors. From a SaaS perspective, this is an important slide. We talked about how SaaS is disproportionately growing, and our belief is that by 2025, it will be 40% of all the revenue which is there in the market. From a SaaS perspective, and some of this is work in progress, we will have a hosting capability in India. We are building a capability in Canada. UK we already have. Germany we are in the process, and also in Dubai. All our products are cloud ready, whether it's IDC, whether it's lending, or whether it's a channel product. And also all our products are certified both on private and public cloud. Our products are running on AWS, Azure, and also on the IBM Financial Services Cloud. So in summary, from a winning combination perspective, we believe that the functionality, the architecture, and the depth that we bring through our domain expertise is one of the reasons why we are now winning in the marketplace. Let me move on to and talk a little bit about 3 case studies. And these 3 case studies, as I said in the beginning, are about the 3 destiny deals that we have won in the first 9 months of this fiscal. The first deal that I want to talk about is the channel deal that we won in North America. Why it's important for us and why it's a destiny deal is that, as you would recall, a couple of years back, we had won Santander UK, Catter Allen, and we had made this into a referenceable client, and then we started growing Europe from that perspective. Our objective is exactly similar here. This is going to be our referenceable client. We are right now in the phase of implementation. We want to build this as a referenceable client, and this would be the foundation for our America strategy in the next couple of years. So this is the deal that I'm talking about, is a tier 2 bank in North America. This bank is currently serving only the credit unions, and they want to go now direct to bank proposition. And the products that we have sold here is customer onboarding, a channel solution, both CBX retail, CBX corporate, our loan origination platform. This is a very important thing, and right now we are in an agile implementation with this client, and the objective is to make this into a referenceable client and use that to grow our America footprint. The second case study is about this large e-commerce player. I think we've talked about this. We talked about this in the last investor call also. This is about auto and how we've using auto to also build our business in Germany and broader Europe. The last deal that I want to talk about is really Bank of Mozambique in Africa. This is again a destiny deal for us. And this is the first central bank deal that we won completely remotely. And we have now started implementation, and that's also being done completely remotely. And this is a deal that we won against SAP. And this is a deal which is important for us because it has the full functionality of our quantum solution. It has core, it has treasury, as well as it has our HRMS solution. So in summary, what we feel is that we've had some good calibrated growth for the last year or so. This year, which is fiscal 21, is really an inflection year for a retail bank, from a retail banking perspective. And the way I look at this business, I see all the engines of the business firing, whether it is solution, whether it's execution, engineering, and customer support. Very heartening to note that 3 of our products have hit critical mass: IDC, IDL, and our quantum banking solution. And I define critical mass as revenues of over 100 crores. Happy to state that all these 3 products have hit critical mass. Europe continues to be a star performer. It has grown very handsomely for us this year, and we continue to believe that it will grow at good double-digit growth rates for us in years to come, thus validating our strategy of investing in Europe. We have a very healthy pipeline as we speak, and we are in last 2 in several deals and several destiny deals. So in summary, I'm cautiously optimistic about our next year, fiscal 22, and very strongly optimistic about our proposition from a medium to long-term perspective. That's what I had for today. Thank you so much for giving me the time to share my story with you. And with that, let me now pass it on to Banesh to talk to you about the seed business. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you, Rajesh, for a good, interesting presentation. What I'm going to discuss today is the Intellect Seek business, which started with the insurance business first in North America. Recently, we've got a lot of requirements for products in the non-insurance and the non-BFSI area. So if you actually look at the data that we have right now, you heard from my colleagues earlier today on cloud and data platforms, and that Intellect has built these platforms, and it is in use today for Seek in 12 leading companies, and all of them are on a subscription model. The business and culture of being born on the cloud, not only the infrastructure, but also the product and the platform, makes good scalability and agility for our clients today. Clearly, the pandemic has accelerated the use of these technologies, and research from the analysts and the consultants shows that companies that have adopted these technologies are performing many multiples better financially than the non-adopters. You will see on the slide, data is the new oil. Now, you already had a presentation around that, but our cloud platform that is being used has aggregated several thousands of data elements and sources together, and it's hosted on the cloud so that our clients can use this data in addition to the own data that they have in such a way that they can triangulate this data, validate and enrich it as necessary so that they can improve their revenue growth, improve their risk management, and thereby they're in a position to significantly improve both their customer onboarding as well as approval rates of the customers that they onboard. If you go forth, the Seek business at the heart of it has had AI. Now, AI and machine learning adoption by us on our platform and products actually helps us make the clients transition from the digital age to the information age a lot easier. You will see some insight of that later on in the examples we have. But the 400 plus man years of skills that we have built in scaling up this area is providing the big differentiation both on personalization and contextuality of our customer user journeys. We all know that the platforms and ecosystems are the new channels of interaction. So if you actually look at our marketplace platform connectivity today, we are using our architecture, our ability to connect to big tech, fintechs, and others seamlessly with our API first approach. With data and AI on the cloud, this will be cutting edge capability for us and for our clients. While we interface with many providers, our experience with leading platforms like AWS, Salesforce, and Snowflake are examples of a superior set of capabilities that we can provide for our clients. I'm now going to talk to you about one of our businesses. It is the intelligent data extraction. It is a contextual and AI-based hyper-automation platform. So what does this really mean? It's got 5 legs to it. Our platform is a contextual cloud engine that can classify documents very easily. Now, let me give you an example of what really this means. Later on, I'm going to touch on each of these elements, but the classification, the extraction, thereafter the validation and enrichment of these documents, the verification and integration are the 5 modules that make up this complete end-to-end Intellect data extraction platform. It's been rated very well. We won a Celent Award with a large UK wealth provider that we provide this service for. But if you look at the slide here, you will see Novarica recently rated Intellect Seek as one of the most advanced underwriting platforms. Now, underwriting is one of the ways we use these 5 capabilities to be able to actually help a client end-to-end deliver superior customer experience. You will see over here established competitors of ours and some very large players who are there in the general extraction market like Microsoft, Google Cloud, and AWS. But what makes us different is the way in which we use a combination of data and the end-to-end processing of the documents to make a difference to the clients. So what is the classification, which is the first leg, involve? It's really a contextual recognition of documents that are sent and uploaded by customers. So all of you upload documents today, and very often more complex customers, sometimes sending, one of our clients sends 500 document types. They're never sorted in the right way. So what actually this platform does is that it can intelligently split and sort document bundles, which are very complex, and it can then classify the pages and sections within these documents so that the actual processing of this document can be significantly faster and easier using this machine learning and AI capability. After we classify the document, the next stage, as I'm showing here, is extraction. I think the key difference here is that we can take structured, semi-structured, unstructured data from these documents, And thereafter, with very little human intervention, these documents can then be used by the client for actually going to the next stage of processing. Now, in the old model, extraction actually involved some kind of a BPO or another organization data inputting some of this information, and it used to take a long time. Today, the machine and our platform has the capability to extract this data and digitize it very, very fast. So sometimes what used to take days is now done in minutes, and the accuracy level of this extraction has already been achieved around 98% with a recent client of ours. Now, after extraction, what really happens, right? Once you extract the data, so you classified the data, you've extracted the data, and now you are actually validating and enriching the data. So what the machine learning algorithm does for validation and enrichment is that it actually can look at your existing data. And I'm going to give you a simple example, which many of you will relate to, which is over here mentioned as the Intellect Magic Other that we launched recently. So when customers actually give you documents, they would give you an application, let's say with an address and a separate document with the Aadhaar card. The ability for this platform, very simply, to be able to identify the address from different documents, match them, and validate them is an internal validation of these documents. But if you actually go after and validate documents externally, you could actually go and validate that with the UIDAI authentication platform. So the ability to validate documents becomes very interesting. Now, based on the validation, you can enrich the document with additional information which was not there or not input in the right set of documents that the customer uploaded. So this has become a very interesting part, and this is one of the reasons why Novarica and some of the consultants have rated our platform better than the others. Now, if you go from there to verification, here what you actually do is you provide a score of those data that you can then bring the human in the loop to verify. Now, as the machine becomes smarter and smarter through machine learning, the verification percentages will become lesser, but you can take a decision where you want the human to come in the loop and verify and where you don't want to do that. In some areas, you'll just want to do straight through processing. In certain other areas, you'll want a verification to be done by the user. We are seeing a lot of use cases for this. The Aadhaar example is classic. There are customers talking to us today in tens of millions. As a matter of fact, there's a customer with a backlog with maybe over 100 million documents that they need us to identify where all in the documents is an Aadhaar card, extract it, and mask the Aadhaar card from a privacy and security perspective, because one of the regulatory mandates, and I believe the Honorable Supreme Court has also talked about ensuring that Aadhaar card information is maintained from a privacy perspective, and therefore masking the document can be very easily done using technology like the one we have built, rather than going through the route of doing this all manually, which is actually almost impossible to do when you have tens of millions of documents that are flowing through. Now, remember, the Aadhaar is not limited to insurance businesses or BFSI, and it applies to a variety of people. And you would all relate to how many times that you had to give Aadhaar card for different activities in your day-to-day life. So after verification, I think another thing that came out in our assessment with the analysts who rated our product as among the best is that we can now, through API first approach, integrate this data that is extracted, validated, verified directly into third-party platforms very seamlessly. I think it is very important to be able to finally, whatever data has been extracted, to feed it into existing platforms, which are really platforms where they are statement of record or for accounting purposes. So our ability to seamlessly do that, I think, is something that we've been able to demonstrate. And this is not only with legacy platforms, but we can also connect to, platforms on AWS and Salesforce, which is what we've done with our existing clients. So if you actually step back and look at this data extraction market, right? I mean, it's worth billions, just the data extraction. But when you look at validation, when you look at enrichment, when you look at the ability to have straight through processing of this document, it is worth several billions more than what we see over here, because I don't think there's actually a good estimate of what that is. This business of managing document digitization is actually going to be one of the things that most consultants have believed will significantly impact the ability to implement digital end-to-end solutions, whether it's for trade finance documents, whether it's mortgage documents, customer onboarding, whether it's for lending in the non-BFSI space, for accounts payable. So there's a variety of areas where this can actually become significant. We have several discussions going on with clients in different geographies, primarily related to helping them actually digitize their documents going forward and bring in a sense of intelligence along with that digitization, as I've shared with you, to make the process significantly better. So at this point, I'm going to sort of hand this off to Jim. Jim has recently joined Intellect. Jim is a senior executive, one of the leaders of a large US insurance business, and has spent significant years in continuously upgrading underwriting. I think underwriting, we believe, is a significantly superior platform today that is going to be very different from the old underwriting models. And it's going to bring together this whole piece I talked to you about, data extraction and digitization, along with the usage of data on a platform, which you already heard on the data presentation earlier this morning. And end-to-end underwriting, we've got a very powerful cloud-hosted underwriting platform. So I'm going to hand off to Jim, who's going to share with you this end-to-end capability. Hi, Jim. All yours.
Thank you, Banesh. It's good to be here. So as Banesh mentioned, I've joined just several months ago, Intellect Seek. Prior to that, I spent just under 2 decades with a national leading carrier, Liberty Mutual. Most recently, my role was leading product and underwriting support, and I had a relationship with Intellect Seek for the last several years. And so I know their capabilities well, and I believe so strongly I moved into Intellect Seek. So today, I wanted to talk about our approach to go-to-market approach in the insurance marketplace. First of all, Intellect Seek, we believe that we are a commercial lines modernization partner with the broadest set of capabilities in the industry, and we work with customers that in the commercial landscape, folks have been trying to modernize, but have a ton of legacy technical debt, if you will, that they've kind of chipping away at over time. Our approach is really enabling efficiency by bringing contextual AI and machine learning to enable transformation. But in addition to that, we're bringing our third-party data expertise to the game. So while helping them get more efficient, we're also helping them get more sophisticated at the same time. And our capability set, as I've said, is as broad of an offering as there is in the industry. The next slide, I'll transition and kind of lay out the underwriting process to give some context to the value that we bring to many of our customers. The process today is very manual in nature. Everything from submissions that come in from a broker and agent is manually. There's a manual intake process. Many carriers have a back office function where they're manually taking in information, manually getting it into their underwriting platforms. This leads to a very long cycle time. And then next, there'll be a manual assessment or collaboration back and forth with brokers. And then ultimately, manual decision making. So individual mid-market size of risk for a carrier can be up to 30 days of an underwriting decision response time. What we do is work with carriers to modernize. We bring AI and machine learning to not only cut that turnaround time down significantly, sometimes to minutes, what used to be days or weeks, not only make it more efficient, but also add context and information at the point where it's necessary for an underwriter so that we enable them to make better underwriting decisions and then ultimately out-select competitors and have better earnings than competitors. So the very manual process that you see up top here, the manual intake transitions to leveraging AI, machine learning for an immediate ingestion of data. And that data comes in all different shapes and sizes, as Banesh had pointed out. And not only do we ingest it in almost immediately, but we're going out and proving the accuracy of the information. So efficiency, yes, but also we're improving the quality of data, which ultimately leads to better decision making. Next, automatic insights and collaboration. I'll talk a lot about our solutions in an upcoming slide, but here we're helping underwriters. We're making better decisions. We're helping them get smarter at every step of the underwriting process by ingesting information and data that helps them make better decisions. So lastly, just as I said before, the decisions are transformed from days, weeks to minutes or hours. So it's fundamentally less time and much more sophistication. And so carriers that aren't investing in this space today are clearly going to be left behind, as those that do have advanced sophistication and lower costs, and it'll be really create a big wedge, which I ultimately believe that'll result in consolidation in the industry for the winners in the space. So it's critical that carriers are investing in the space. On the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about the solutions that we bring to the marketplace. On the left-hand side here, you see the underwriting process. We have solutions where we partner with carriers to customize solutions at almost every step of the underwriting process. And I'll start with at the top. There's in the mid-sized commercial space, you have underwriters that are approaching brokers and agents and trying to target very specific accounts. A broker agent is constantly asking carriers, what do you want? What types of risk do you want? And so what we do is we bring third-party data to carriers, help them create a proprietary, customized, sophisticated modeling by injecting our third-party data to potential prospects so that they can differentiate them. And so they're getting much more sophisticated in which risk they're going after. The next is, which Banesh had highlighted, is what we call magic submission. And that's a submission intake, all of the ingestion of all the data that a commercial lines carrier would need, which is then triangulated, which is one of our biggest value props. Is not only can we bring it in, because we have some competitors that can ingest data, but we have the most sophisticated algorithms to ensure the most accurate ingestion of data, which is one of our biggest value props. Next is submission prioritization. So carriers are constantly struggling with, they have all these submissions. How do they figure out which one to work on, right? So you can get your biggest return at every step of the funnel, if you will. And so we bring third-party data to the game to help prioritize submissions as they come in and help them differentiate which one is most likely to win and which one's most likely to be most profitable. Next is risk analyst, which is really now that you've decided that you want to put a quote on a risk, we bring almost over 3,000 data elements to the underwriting process to help underwriters at the point of making that decision on price and quality to really drive the insights for carriers to understand their exposures better than their competitors. And ultimately, that's the name of the game for underwriting. To the extent that you understand the exposure best, you'll certainly be able to outselect your competitors. Next, we have Throughout all of this process, we have an underwriting workstation, which we call Exponent. It is a full end-to-end underwriting platform that I think is best in class in the marketplace, and we offer that to our carriers and customers. And all of these products integrate seamlessly together. Lastly, I'll say Intellect Seek is really differentiated in the marketplace, not from just our off-the-shelf products, data ingestion, and our over 3,000 data elements to supplement it, but along with our underwriting workstation, we also have significant expertise in agile technology teams that we can bring to our customers to help augment their investments, as well as data scientists, groups of data scientists that have deep expertise that we also bring to our customers to help augment their solutions. The number one job opening in the marketplace is on any insurance carrier today. The number one job opening is data scientists. So I think it's a really compelling offering that not only do we have all these products, but we have depth of offshore expertise that can augment carriers in their modernization efforts. So I strongly believe that our broad product set and capability and our expertise in many transformation accelerators, whether it be Snowflake, Salesforce, or other cloud capabilities, I think we truly have the most differentiated capability set for commercial lines carriers in the marketplace. And I really strongly believe that we're poised for strong growth as we bring this to market.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a super summary, Jim. Thank you. If you see the slide over here, Jim touched on, I talked about IDX, the data extraction platform. We call it Magic Submission, which is a branded position that was launched in the US in November of last year. It's got a lot of interesting traction. So this is a combination of Magic Submission. Our data platform is using a lot of data, and some part of that is here when we talk about risk analyst on this slide. And at the bottom is Exponent, which is the underwriting workstation. I think the combination of all of this coming together for the client to be able to fulfill things end-to-end digitally, I think is really a great opportunity for us to capture. And this is going to be the new world of underwriting going forward. So thanks a lot, Jim. And I think we'll have questions later on. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Manish, for presenting GTB, Rajesh for presenting retail banking, and Banesh for presenting insurance in US, I think, which is the most competitive market where we are, and Jim for presenting it. These four players would have given you some view of why our products are competitive, why our growth is sustainable in coming years. Now let me just connect with other cycles which are not been presented today. We have a good product set in what we call RTM, which is we are planning to monetize sometime in 22-23. This is about treasury, brokerage, and market. We have a great product in wealth, and we have a great business which is emerging, is the government e-marketplace GEM, where we have bid on a transaction basis. That is the kind of elements which we have worked out. So the GEM is a good business emerging, which is on a cloud and subscription base, which we won against Amazon in 2018. So that is business is now getting into a good traction now. So these are the levers which we are going forward with. Just to give you the summarization of the presentation that why some products are in a flywheel effect. And Jim Collins has written in Good to Great that at certain point of time you get a flywheel effect. Initially, we need to have a successful wins to create a referenceability. And when we implement it, they create a referenceability, which Manish talks about NPS 60. When you have a net promoter score of 60, then you create a good referenceability in the marketplace. And those people, when they move from bank A to bank B to bank C, they able to purchase our technology, as well as with a kind of a brand on Intellect IGTB Oxford we are creating that is helping to increase the referenceability. When referenceability increases, the same product implemented 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, now it's 57 times. Then the implementation cycle comes down. So it means my cost of implementation comes down. It means my margin on the same product significantly improve, and which is being showing off in last 4 quarters. So this fourth cycle, which is faster implementation leading to lower costs, then increasing more wins because we have better competitive place, which is increasing the referenceability, is a circus cyclic, which is giving a flywheel effect to some of the products. The 3 top products which are giving us a value today are liquidity, digital transaction banking, and quantum central banking. These are the topmost 3 leadership quadrant. The next 3 products are IDC, the payments, the IDA, Intellect Digital Lending. These are the next 3 products are giving significant pipeline, along with trade and supply chain finance, as Manish was putting it, that it was starting product, and now in a new avatar, it's giving a significant new traction line. So these 4 products will give us a, and then next pipeline of the products are there. So this is a one dimension of monetization cycle 1. So I call this set of 12 products one by one, calibrated manner, which will give us a growth of double-digit growth in coming years. Now, along with that, there is a second cycle of monetization which is happening around AI, and there are some questions around it. Can data platform be applied outside the BFSI platform? Yes, IDX is a horizontal platform. It can be applied in SAP payment module. It can be for any document, intelligent document extraction. It can be applied there. So there are some questions. I'll invite some of the questions to be answered by Rajesh. One question is around GCB, Rajesh, for you, which is saying why in Europe, what do you see GCB scope when there's a good player, an embedded player like Temenos sitting there, they are entrenched there. How do you see the market for Europe? So can you respond to that question?
Sure. First of all, that's a great question. And I think I kind of answered that in one of my slides where I talked about traditional players and neo players. But let me answer this question from specifically from a Temenos perspective in Europe. Why are we winning against Temenos, and why do we feel that we will win against Temenos? So I think probably there are 3 main reasons why we are winning. So let me talk about that. The first reason is I talked about the functional depth and the architecture that we have, the microservices architecture. What it does for us is it really is we are able to curate, right? We are able to curate a solution and give it to the customer. If you look at Temenos from that perspective, probably they're still in that journey. They're still more monolithic and they're not able to curate that solution. So that's one. We are seeing, so the banks where we are seeing, and I talked about our Credit 360 proposition, there is a space, there is a wide space which has a combination of payments, deposits, lending, cards, and I think there we have a sweet spot. So that's point number 1. The point number 2 is really around how do we build on the fewer references that we have versus let's say a Temenos. So the model that we have adopted here is really a model of building very rapid proof of concepts, right? Because of, again, our solution, which is completely composable, and I think we talked about iTurmeric as a platform, we are able to show and curate a solution to the customer in as short as 3 weeks and give it to that customer so that he can look and feel the solution themselves, which probably a Temenos or some of the traditional vendors are not able to do. To give you an example, when we looked at Auto, and when we, Auto is a very large mega destiny deal for us, and we had initially in the long list, we also had Temenos in that long list. The reason why we won there was that we had to go through a 16-week, very detailed POC with them. And there the customer was able to get that comfort that our solution fits their need, both from a functionality perspective and architecture perspective. And point number 3, which is more of a hygiene answer, is that our solutions are now Europe compliant. We have invested in the last couple of years to make them Europe compliant, whether they are regulated, whether it's about regulation, whether it's about PSD2, whether it is about open banking. So our solutions are now Europe compliant. So I think I would say these are the three reasons that we are, and we are winning against MNOs in Europe. It's not that we are not winning against MNOs. So we are winning against MNOs. And that to me is probably the reason why we have a good chance of continuing to win against MNOs in Europe.
Thank you, Rajesh, for the confidence and the white spaces you highlighted. There are few questions. Vaishali has asked, what is the market size of Magic Aadhaar product in India? I think Magic Aadhaar itself could be a market size of between 50 crore to 100 crore. And this is an ongoing market size. And this could be modified, not only Aadhaar, it's a regulatory and compliance kind of market, but this is a large market which we are looking at it, which is ongoing market. Next question, Nitin Pejawar has asked a question, is data extraction and validation market a greenfield opportunity, or would you need to competitively replace incumbent? I think this, because of our data as a operating system, when we built it up, this emerged as a great recent opportunity. Earlier, we were looking data only from a perspective of accuracy. Now we saw the market which can replace Kofax and Abby, which are the key market players. Both of them are hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. We can disrupt that market because of algorithms. We are able to do it. We could able to build up a relationship metrics algorithm, which is completely disrupting the market, because most of the market are computer vision technologies, not contextual relationship metrics technologies. And that model and algorithm which we have able to crack, it opens up significant new horizon, whether on BFSI space and outside the BFSI space. So we are just as of now estimating the size of the market. Next question is, some of the Indian banks, some banks, banking sectors are getting some glitches in last few months, few years. Now you have seen the technology presentation of cloud and how complex the cloud or how complex the technologies of banking could be. I think that I would definitely say the Indian banks have underinvested in the technology, and they better be ready for much higher investment in technology, because that's going to be the competitive. Well, the technology is a business for banking, and it's no more technology as support. To me, technology banking business is a technology business. That's what they need to look at it from that perspective and make some strategic call. There's a question from Harmendra. How big is the Seek now, and how big market you see? Is it completely SaaS model? Yes, it is completely SaaS model. The market of SaaS and Seek, market for insurance and Seek in next 3 to 4 years time window could be $100 million business that they are looking for, and they are going to market. They started going to market only last year, last April, May, and they have a good visibility of Jim and Banish looking for a good market share. Manish, there is a question coming to you, is GTB's operating system market and using AI, how do you define your operating system market, which is a corporate banking operating system? How you differentiate in a marketplace, and what do you see opportunities for you?
No, thanks, Arun. It's a great question. If you look at, it's almost like Intel Inside. We are becoming the corporate banking inside. And when you become corporate banking inside, how do you become the operating system and help accelerate what the banks want to achieve? That's where I specifically called the vision of consumerization of commercial banking, how you look at those 5 aspects and accelerate and provide an operating system on which banks can design their own customer experience, but leave the operating system to us. That's the key recipe, and that's what we are trying to drive to right now.
Thank you, Manish. There's a question that why are we spreading too thin by getting into this business model? I think this question was very relevant in 2017 when we had a less dollar to invest in. I think to us, fintech is a common space. We need to invest in, and they are all interconnected. And all the insurance sector was the sector where we started investing into underwriting. But what we have invested into the AI technology to that, because insurance, we felt that underwriting decisions can be much better if there's a data element there. So we implanted AI technology which is leveraged across the BFSI. So that's a reason for such investments. And it's not about being thin. We have calibrated go-to-market separately than R&D investments, because R&D investment I can leverage across the product line, and that's the advantage of doing such a thing. So Harmendra question is, where do you need more investments? I think we have our investment team of 800 people, 200 crore annual investment. We are calibrating within those budgets. So we are able to handle no incremental investments are required. It's a 200 crore investment which is there. One question is about how much GEM revenue potential is there. GEM revenue potential could be, it's on a basis point basis. So with as of now, the GEM is doing 37,000 crore this year, and next year they're planning to do 1 lakh crore. Even if you take some midpoint between the 2 points where the government aspiration is there, that this business will grow double in next 1 year, driving substantial number. So actual number, I will not able to share since it's confidential deal on the table. Number, what is the exact basis point? But it's in a double digit, high double digit $1 million revenue, which will be there from this. There's a question, MSR, when we have such a great opportunity like idea in our hands by promoters and senior management is not increasing the stake in, I think that the question is not increasing the stake. Question is, what is the purpose we are driving? And we have increased the stake during the preferential offer 2 years back. Senior management has bought into preferential offer when it was made, and the opportunity was there to buy into the stake. The question which is Manish to you is, they're saying why Intellect has decided to go to such a highly competitive space of insurance, and what is the value proposition which Jim has already articulated, but I don't know this question was asked before that time or after that time. If it is before that time, I think the question is answered that it's such a wide space is available in America, and that was the way Intellect has decided to enter into America, because in the US market, which is the largest market, I needed a very sharp tool to enter into that market. And AI and machine learning, where today in Novarica, which Banesh has mentioned, we are in the northeast quadrant, better than AB or Kofax, or there are 20 players in AI and machine learning. And that's a proud moment for us, which is making a difference. Banesh, if you want to add anything to this.
No, all I wanted to say is that, the insurance business, we are not in the policy admin or the core bank platforms of the insurance business. Where we are in is, and you heard from Jim and myself, I think we are in the document extraction, helping the straight-through processing, cost efficiency and speed in this new digital world to help the client do much faster onboarding with better risk on the underwriting side, as well as on the management of the operations cost and process from a customer experience side. So we're not really, going after core platforms and replacing core platforms. What we're actually doing is just tackling the underwriting opportunity very specifically, because most of the future of underwriting, as Jim explained, is moving out of policy admin systems to be operated outside with better use of data and better quality of decisioning end to end than before. So that's the space we are in. We think there's a big opportunity to disrupt that place in the market today. I don't know whether you have anything else you want to add, Jim.
Yeah, well said, Banesh. I would say there's, in the data space, is really point solution providers. There's really no competitors that have the breadth of data and technology and data science, and agile tech team. So, we're as broad of a modernization partner, and that is really resonating. The other thing I'd say is I think our AI machine learning, the way it was built and with the end user in mind, differentiates us certainly. And then lastly, I said the sophistication of our algorithms, and I think ultimately drives the most accurate data in the space. So while it may seem highly penetrated on the policy admin platform, on the data and underwriting space, we have a clear advantage in my mind.
Yeah, so just Jagdish has asked how many IP patents are there. So all the products are IP anyway, which is copyright and IP, but we have applied almost 15 to 20 patents we are working on right now. And they are in various stages of preparing the patents and application. So there are a lot of technologies in AI are patentable, a lot of technologies and our corporate banking operating systems are patentable. So we are working on those technologies for the patentable. There's a lot of question on Temenos versus Intellect. I think that's a question has really taken Rajesh your presentation that are we there? What is the margin gap of their growth of 17-20%? They have promised that they will have a ARR growth of 70-20%. Are we able to do that or catch up with them? So these are the few questions on GCB. Would you like to take up those questions on these against Temenos? But let's say war against Temenos.
I think it's an interesting point. So what we are seeing in the market, right? And we are seeing Temenos, and Temenos is one of our main competitors in most of the deals that we are seeing now. So I think that's there, and we have a fair in the deals that we participate. We are seeing maybe 50-50 if I see between Temenos and us from a winning perspective, right? Maybe we win, let's say, out of 5 deals, they would win 3 deals and we would win 2 deals. That kind of ratio is what we are seeing. I'm not talking about deals where we don't compete with them. So that's what we are seeing in the market space. And this is market not only across Europe, but we are also seeing them in very aggressively in Africa. We are seeing them in Asia. We are seeing them in Middle East also. So that's one. I think the second piece that there's a specific question about ARR. I think what we have seen is that we are seeing a rapid growth from a subscription and cloud basis. I think retail banking or GCB started the journey about a year and a half back with our first client in Catral, and we also have a client in India. So we've been in this journey for some time, and we are seeing a rapid buildup of this growth. While I can't share the numbers of what is our the year-on-year cloud revenue that we are seeing, but it needless to say, as Arun was explaining, this keeps building very rapidly. So we can see growth of over 50%, 50 to 70% year-on-year growth on the on subscription-related revenue. So that's what we are seeing. It grows very, very rapidly. So that's what we are seeing.
Okay, thank you. Are all Intellect products BaNCS or open banking compliant? Yes, open banking. We have 711 APIs. They are open banking compliant. They are working out of UK. There are some questions.
I can answer on the BaNCS
yeah,
side.
sure, please. BaNCS side, you can answer it.
Yeah, so I think BaNCS is an emerging trend, right? It's a trend which is driven mostly by Gartner, and it's mostly driven by tier 1 clients. So it's a journey. So we are in the journey of moving our APIs to a BaNCS compliance. So it's not, there's nobody who's fully BaNCS compliant in the market space today, but it's a journey that we are doing. So we are in multiple task force along with other players and tier 1 banks trying to move our APIs in from a BaNCS compliance perspective.
Yeah, so there's some questions around what is the typical tenure of SaaS contract. Typical SaaS and cloud contract, if you look at Salesforce.com and other contracts in banking space, can go up to 10 years to 15 years, but their customers typically sign for 3 to 5 years, but typically it goes for 10 to 15 years and maybe longer for it because it's a addiction technology which is used. Ajit Khasnis, you're saying Anil Kumar Tulsiram has said how much Indian banks have underinvested. I would say some of the leading banks like HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, I have invested rightly in the technology, but a lot of other banks, their capacity to invest to meet the competitive landscape is still lower right now. And completely public sector banks have completely, because of their buying behavior of saying lowest quote and lowest lowest cost technology purchase using the current government regime is quite detrimental to get them a right technology, which can put them onto a, because they have a largest set of customer and they need best technologies in the world with the largest set of customer. Some banks have a 30 million customers, some banks have 20 million customers. They can do a phenomenal job, but their current purchase behavior of government of India of taking a lowest cost bidding process is not getting them anywhere, and that's making them poorer and poorer on technology. So, but I don't have a comment to say. It's a government decision to look at it. Is our focus on central banking solution? Yes, central banking solution, we are leader. We have double digits central banks. To more than 10 banks are using our central banking solution. And this is as a premium pricing goes in because there is a only little limited competition in that space. So we have a definitive play, but it's not a very high growth market. The TAM is only limited to 100 banks in the world. So from that perspective, it's not a very high growth market, but high margin market. When you say, can you grow faster than 15 to 20% by doing more marketing dollars investment? Sure, we can grow more than 15 to 20% with more marketing dollars, and these are the questions which are there for the board meeting, which is coming up next week. That how much we should spend, not spend, because we have built up a predictability after a lot of tough quarters. We'll be careful that we are not overspending the money for not to lose the focus on investor and consistent performance on financial terms. So that is the other question which is there. It's already 7:05. I'm seeing the watch. If you can open the question, few raised hands are there. If you can just open the question which is beyond this, I think. But I love the questions which is coming in over here. Nachu, if you can open the question.
Thank you, Arun. Jagdish Kumar, you may ask your questions now. Okay. Vipul Sangvi, you can ask your questions now.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yes, Jagdish, you can go ahead.
My question has been answered. Thank you.
Okay, so Jagdish, you can go ahead now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vipul.
So my question, actually a technical question is answered, just business perspective, maybe the repetitive question, sorry for that. Okay, the promoter shareholding is less, right? So maybe in future, right, if we are going, so there is a hostile takeover or some issues will be occur, right? So are we maybe maintaining or trying to increase the share by buyback or some other way? Just to
tell you, our promoter and employees of the company is more than 40%, and 40% is very safe for any hostile takeover. So 40% is yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we have next question from Supriya Kadam. Supriya Kadam can go ahead now.
Thank you, sir. My questions have been answered.
Thank you.
Ashwin Shetia, you can ask your questions now.
I had a question on the financial end. So, how do you see the growth prospects in SaaS and the margins that will come along with it?
So, if you look at the SaaS model, let me just take an example which will be helpful to. So, if I have to sell a license of a product, let's say a core banking to mid-sized bank, if I'm selling a core banking at $1 million license, I'll make first year $1 million, and second year onwards, I make 20% of that revenue, which is AMC. So over the 5 years, I will make $1.8 million. In SaaS model, I may be having a $40,000 or $40,000 per month, maybe SaaS subscription, which means it's around $480,000 per year. So in a 5-year period, the total value realization for the company will be $2.4 million. But if you take it a 10-year phenomena, it becomes $4.8 million compared to $3 million in 10-year period to the license model. So this is the difference between license and SaaS model. But my booking in the revenue in the books of account will be proportionate on month-on-month basis. That is the way it will be worked out in a books of account. So initially there will be impact that which I am able to book $1 million into the same quarter. I'll not able to book that $1 million in the same quarter, and I will be able to do that booking month on month over the 10-year period. So that's a readjustment of the number. But overall, from a company value creation perspective, SaaS revenue is 2 times more efficient for like a cash perspective, and the margin perspective is substantially larger because of first implemented, then you have a significant realization on the same shared cloud. One can build up a revenue. So headcount cost for a same cloud doesn't increase year on year.
Arun, just adding to what you said, in the first year, maybe we get half, but in the all subsequent year, we get twice the revenue of what we would have got normally. So it's a 1-year lag only, and it doubles up from every year. And then we're building the volume parameters on it. So it's like as banks grow, we grow with that.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Understood. So can we say in the next 5 years, it should reach around say 40 to 50% of our whole revenues?
Should be, I'm saying not 40 to 50, but 30%. I think we should be comfortable as of now to visible. We initially 10% we started the cloud. Now we are 10% level. 10% to 30% will be a good number.
Okay. And secondly, I guess in the presentation, I guess Arun sir mentioned about a cost of around 300 crores on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So how long do we continue to amortize all these software development costs, and how do you see it turning out going ahead, or at any point of time do you expect it to stop?
No, I think you mistook it. 300 crore is the total cost before EBITDA line. It's 283 crore last quarter. The total capitalization cost which we are capitalizing, we are investing 200 crore in the product business, out of which close to 120 crore is for capitalization. That number will be there because we are supporting 12 product lines, AI platform and cloud platform. So this 120 crore we capitalize. So 60% of the work which goes in building new functionality we capitalize. All the upgrade work, 80 crore of R&D work, we expense out. All the R&D work we expense out on the same quarter. Only the work which generates a next generation revenue of 120 crore per year. Quarterly we capitalize only 28 crore per quarter. And now amortization is also happening. So amortization of 10 to 12 crore is happening. So I think that those will get neutralized. Whatever we capitalize will come equal to the new amortization. So you'll not see the difference between capitalization and amortization going forward.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The next question is from Mohit Jain.
My question was on the two businesses, IGTB and IGCB.
Yeah. What is the question, Mohit? Can you repeat the question, Mohit?
Tell me now.
How is the split of the business? Okay.
Split of the business between advanced and emerging markets for IGTB and IGCB. And how do you see it moving in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so we don't publish this number separately, Mohit. We are saying IGTB business in advanced market is over 60%. My average advanced market is close to 55%. So IGCB advanced market business has just started the journey 1.5 years back. So they also target to make advanced market business to be 50% in next 2 years and going to 60% in next 3 to 4 years.
And sir, is there a difference between the payment cycle of these two segments, or your receivable will not have any impact if IGCB grows faster or slower than IGTB?
payment cycles are similar because it depends on the client. Like advanced market payment terms are much better, and it's very automatic. 30 days, 60 days, whatever the contracting is there. While in Asia Pacific and Middle East, the value of the terms in the contract doesn't mean anything. We need to follow up all the payments. And India, we have to follow up multiple times.
So if we achieve this target of 50%, our overall working capital will see a downward trend, so to say, in the next 2 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. We are generating cash flows. In last 9 months, we generated 250 crore of cash in the company. So working capital will be a surplus for us.
All right, sir. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohit. Nishid, you can ask your questions now. Nishid Shah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Nishid, we can hear you.
First of all, congratulations on arranging this superb presentation and quite enlightening. My question is on big data. You guys have spoken a lot on big data, and I see some companies' valuations on big data in US running in quite high. So, what is the strategy? When do we see the big numbers coming in our revenue side on big data?
Yeah. So Nishit, there's a AI business is a initially slow piece. Like Palantir, when you look at it, they started in 2008. It is a 12-year journey for them to start generating substantial revenue going forward. So our journey started sometime in 2017. So we are just in early stages of AI building client and reputation. So maybe another 3 years time, you will see a substantial. So we are betting substantially higher for next 3 years. So my monetization cycle too would be cloud and AI. That's why we made 2 technology presentation today to the investor that this is my monetization cycle 2. Monetization cycle 1 is on products. Monetization cycle 2 is on AI, data, and cloud.
Right. So that's perfect, and that's what I thought. That's where the next level of investment of Intellect is going in, and it is going actually in a right direction. On the GCB, I had a question. We won a couple of orders in GCB in US, as well as recently I saw something in China. So what's our strategy for US and China? Because both are very big markets for GCB.
Rajesh?
Yeah. So let me answer that. And I think I shared that in the presentation. So I think we've just started our US journey, right? We've just won a client. I think it's important when you look at a new market, and especially a market like US, you need market permission there. So we've got won our first deal in North America. We are looking at making that as a referenceable client. This is an implementation which will take another 6 to 9 months. And hopefully with this referenceable client, and we already have some pipeline, we will go and build our North America strategy based on this client. So the first stepping stone, so to speak, like we started our Europe journey with Cater Allen's in UK 2.5 years back, that stepping stone has been done. So we've got the first deal, we are in implementation, and it's a very interesting deal. It's the digital piece that we have won. So it's something that we want to go and build our strategy around in North America around that. Coming to China, I think your question now was about China. I think China right now, we are looking more as a partner-led strategy. So it's not really our core, at least from a GCB perspective, core strategy to enter China right now.
Right. So my question next question is to Manish. You showed one accelerating growth slide where you talked about SAM expansion to 450 clients and penetration of 10 products. Now that's quite explosive. Can we really achieve it over the next 5 years?
No, so what I said was that's the opportunity. And I've said out of that, we will get 150 customers at about 4 opportunities per customer. So the opportunity is large. The investments are good right now happening over there. How fast we scale, how quickly we adapt. I need to ensure all my customers are promoters. I don't want to be reckless. We built a reputation basis that we built a very strong market brand. All of this will follow.
So I felt that you will be more than $500 million in next 5 years, Manish.
Very.
Yeah,
Your
he's putting a
blessings.
wording about there. You
Calculating
need to
these
be careful.
numbers.
You need to be careful. But yeah, there's a
Anyway,
good
but
opportunity there.
yeah, but anyway, a fantastic presentation. Congratulations, and you guys have a very, very bright future, exciting future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nishit.
Since we are running short of time, we'll have one questions more. The next question is from Ajay Merchant. Ajay, you can go ahead now.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I
Yes,
audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ajay.
Excellent presentation, and the company looks very promising. But my question is, we've had some tough quarters in the past. So my question is, how do we ensure, the promise we are showing, we don't repeat some of the mistakes of the past? And how closely are we scrutinizing capital allocation decisions? Because, we need to ensure we are conservative enough to propel this growth that we are promising. So if you can tell me. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question, Ajay. I think I would not say the mistake in that. The question is that what cycle of business we are in. The cycle of business was industrialization cycle of business. Now we are in monetization cycle of business. There could be ups and downs in few quarters of saying one license is not signed and contract is not done. So those are the aberration in our business because our business is not quarterly, it's annualized business. So if the $5 million license doesn't come in, it reflect on the profitability of that quarter. So that nature of business is on nature of accounting. But we are more careful now on defining the capital allocation. We are more prudent to understand what is working, what is not working. Sort of testing of the market has been done. So during the first phase of any product business is when we test the market, what works where and how does it work. Now the chances of that repetition is much lower because product maturity has happened. What I think flywheel effect has started happening. And some question was how design thinking is helping us as a company. Design thinking is helping us sharpening. Last 2% is 200%. We are able to implement something which will take 18 months. We are able to implement in 12 months time. That is the differentiation what we are able to create. And that's where I think capital allocation will be definitely an important point in our board. And now the board and management team both are very, very conscious on this calibration quarter on quarter on what investment we need to do. Don't get into the berserk mode as somebody puts it. We can grow 30%, we can grow 40%. We don't want to get into that trap. We want to do consistent growth, calibrated growth over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you. All the best. I mean, sounds good, and we remain optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We need all your support.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you very much for participating. And I think it's a great 3.5 hours. You are able to listen to the presentation. We have bigger stories. This is the summary slides which we are able to present. But that itself, we are not able to present RTM or wealth or any other product journey. But I think this will give you a preview of our technologies, our product, and how the products are getting connected to markets and how it is connected to the economic cycle going forward. We would have done this investor day in Bombay like normally we do, but fortunately I think we can have got more participation and from all over the world using Zoom call. But it's really enjoying listening to your questions, because in design thinking, asking the right question is the first step of moving forward. And these questions are relevant for us to put together in our next 3-year plan journey. Thanks a lot for all of you. Thank you, Banesh. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Rajesh, Deepak, Rajesh Makhija, Jim, for coordinating this session. And thank you all the people who are part of my investment team who have participated and shared and do the infrastructure management invitation extra. Thanks a lot to everybody who participated. And finally, thanks to all the Intellect employees who are building this company and who are building this culture, world-class culture out of India. I am most proud of all of you that we are able to build something which we 10 years back when we set up this design center 8012, it was only a dream that we can create a Silicon Valley out of Chennai. But now a lot of things are emerging in that direction from this center. New technologies are coming which are disrupting the world technologies. Thanks a lot for all the employees, Intellect, who are making me proud, or making us all proud, and making India proud. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.